Man, we got game. What is this? Game 4 tonight.
Mhm.
Welcoming everybody into the room on a Friday. Happy Friday. I know we said 4:15. It ended up being 5. Shit happens. I think we might just need to. But see, you know what? I don't want to say 5 and it be 5:15. Y'all know where we at. Y'all know how we come together. We got some new music today. We didn't really get many albums. I didn't get a chance to check out Currency because I found out that he dropped you know in the middle of the day, and it was kind of too late to really get into it and give it a real listen. So might speak on the Currency on Wednesday, and the
Mhm.
Mount Westmore, that's on the Metaverse. So I didn't have
Mhm.
access to that.
Mhm.
Did you get a chance to
So
check it out?
I haven't had time.
Okay.
I can, but I mean, I just didn't have time today. Out of respect for Currency,
Mm-hmm.
what he does, we weren't about to just give him like a late fast listen.
Yeah.
And
What Currency's doing right now is incredible, man. I'm loving the fact that people are just coming with project after project and just continue. It's all about going to work.
I was just playing a track off Continuance like last week. I think he's already got a whole nother project out.
Peace to everybody in the room. Peace to everybody in the room. Tell a friend, we live. Any prediction for tonight's game? And no, you know what? I don't even want to talk about tonight's game. I know we start off our shows normally talking about the NBA Finals, and we haven't had a show since Game 3 happened. What were your thoughts on Game 3?
My thoughts on Game 3 was that was the game where the length and the athleticism showed itself. And then I thought to myself, when's this the last time that a team that didn't have supreme athleticism and height at the same time win the title? And I was thinking, well, damn, that was the last iteration of the Warriors, except for they had KD, so they still had some height and
Mm-hmm.
a whole lot of scoring. If you look at the last 4 champions, like if you look at that Toronto team, they were tall and athletic
Yep.
and could switch defenders. If you look at this Boston team, tall and athletic, can switch defenders. That Lakers team in the bubble, tall, athletic, could switch defenders. You know, like when LeBron and AD are your 4 and your 5 or your 3 and your 4, depending on who else you're plugging in, you've got length and you've got athleticism. Who's the other? Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Giannis and Middleton and Lopez
Well,
and
I mean, you
Holland.
got
You got
Giannis alone, probably the tallest, most athletic person we've seen in a minute
That's
in the
what I'm saying.
NBA.
Just like them having Giannis, it's just kind of like when Golden State had KD. It's like, well, you have somebody 7 feet who can go get you like 40 points. So that's length, that's strength, and so you kind of even in today's time, I think really still need that person, and that's why Isaiah Thomas's 2 rings matter so much.
I think everybody is being so nice to Steph Curry, and I get it. He's a nice guy, and
I mean,
I'm a fan of his. He's the best shooter of all time. But I mean, it,
this you want to know what this feels like? This is a little bit worse because I think Kevin Durant played better in the fourth quarter of that series, but this feels very OKC versus Miami Heat like, where it's like Steph's getting 30, but it's like how much is the 30 mattering? Like, Kevin Durant averaged like 31 and shot like 53% from the field against LeBron, like in that first finals. Like before he was even like KD, like he did that, but they were like, do the points matter? And it's like I kind of could see some of the same thing going on with Steph, but I think KD scored better in those fourth quarters than Steph has been.
King Hai says, when are you guys reacting to Galvin's album from the art and her other album? I've been waiting a while. $7 each album. Yeah. React to.
It's like I kind of could see some of the same things.
DeCarlo says, you're not a fan, Mike. Stop it. I am a fan. I'm a fan of Steph. I think he's the greatest shooter of all time. I'm just honest about the fact that he doesn't play big in the fourth quarter. I mean, he went 1 for 4 in the fourth quarter in game 3 and scored 2 points in the fourth quarter in game 3. They were tied. Actually, they were up by 1 in game 1. And before Boston went on that onslaught, he had no points, in the remaining 6 minutes of the game. What am I supposed to do? Act like that didn't happen? Like, you guys are, look, I'm a fan of Andre 3000, but to tell the truth about Andre 3000. I'm going to tell the truth about Pharrell today, too, and I'm a huge fan of his. You know what I mean? We got to just keep it real. He's a great regular season player. How about that? Can I say that? I think that's fair. But it's top 10 or even at this point, top 15 stuff has to stop. A top 10 or top 15 player is not going 1 for 4 in the fourth quarter of an NBA Finals game that you need to win on the road. Because as we know, the stars got to show up on the road. And I don't care if he had 30. Maybe the team needed you to get 45. Because at the end of the day, man, like the fourth quarter, you know who has it going at this point, right? Like if you understand by the fourth quarter how the game's going, Draymond's hitting nothing, Draymond's getting nothing, and you the only person that has it going, the fuck you got 2 points in the fourth quarter for? You need to put up 15 more if you the one that got it going. Nas the Goat says, Mike, move on, move on, Skip Bayless. Yeah, y'all want me to move on because what I said was gonna happen happened. But you know, if this didn't happen, y'all would want me to talk. I'm just keeping it real, man. He did this to me when they were 73-9. So I feel where y'all are coming from. He's not who you thought he was. He is who I thought he was.
I was always a KD guy anyway, and much like with KD, if because of this performance, like I told you, if you want to slide KD like out of that top 10, 15 area, well, if you want to slide Steph out of that like top 15, 20 area, I'm cool with that because I'm not cool with them playing this way for who they've been heralded themselves to be their whole careers. And it makes me appreciate LeBron even more because I look at it, it's like, man, LeBron can have 6 or 7 rings if you guys didn't get together. Because now I'm seeing like, really?
And they got together because of his greatness.
Those two guys are finding out. Like literally right now, man, I needed that guy more than I realized I did. We should have just...
Well, I think Kevin Durant understood that anyway. I think he went over there to go get him 2 quick rings or whatnot. He knew when he played with OKC the problem that LeBron was. You know what I'm saying? Like, he understands it. I think at this point, KD's not trying to, I don't want to say not trying to win like that, but he doesn't care about winning to that degree. But Steph, he needs this. Because honestly, man, if we sit here and look at the track record, and we have to look at it, I understand the injuries are a part of the game, but critics could say that first one that you won, that's because Kyrie and Kevin Love were sidelined. They didn't have their squad. They could say that. And then the other two that you won could be said that, you know what, you guys just got a super team.
Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Kevin Durant is better than Larry Bird all time?
That's a good question. I'll tell you this.
I'll tell you this.
Hold
on.
I was going to try to answer. What I was going to say was, I think that if you look at it in 2 ways, right? And people always have this issue with Larry Bird. I think that's why Charles Barkley was so stunned when they asked him if he was better than Larry Bird. If you look at it on paper and you look at this thing as a one-on-one type of thing, yes, Kevin Durant is better on paper than Larry Bird, skill set-wise, everything he brings to the table, whatever. But if you ask me who I want on my team going forward and winning the championship, I'm picking Larry Bird over KD. If that answers your question.
Well, that's why he should be incentivized to like do more because Larry Bird's got 3 rings, 3 MVPs, 5 second-place finishes, made a couple of all-defensive teams, averages more rebounds a game, even though he's less athletic and not as tall. Feel me?
But I think that he's going to lean on that history is going to be kind to him because he's more athletic and more, just physically opposing than Larry Bird.
Oh, yeah. I'm more afraid of playing KD.
Yeah. But I'm saying I think that it's one of those situations where it's like, if you're a person that watched KD and you're a fan of KD, you're still going to say he's better than Larry Bird anyway, and vice versa. So I don't think that drives him in that way because we can't really quantify.
I think that it's comparable, and the fact that it's comparable, and it really shouldn't be comparable because Durant really can do everything that Bird can do, except for he can do all those things better. The fact that it's a conversation is what I'm trying to say he should be incentivized by because he's not even in this LeBron Mike conversation that he's really supposed to be in.
Right. And you know what? Even with Larry Bird, if we want to talk about Bird, and I know, Bird's legacy, we were talking about that today, actually. People look at Bird as like some 3-point shooter, jump shooter, or whatever. No, man, Bird was tough, man. Bird averaged 10 rebounds a game his whole career. And, he could do everything. He would get you inside, outside, talk shit. And it's a lot of intangible stuff that Bird did that KD just doesn't do. KD's a finesse player in a way where Bird could just he could match up against anything and anybody. If you talk about the Bad Boy Pistons or if you're talking about Showtime Lakers, like he could do that. We don't know if KD could do those things, but we know what KD looks like on a if you're just checking off all the marks. 007 in the building. Shout out to him. He said Kyrie needs Golden State to win for legacy purposes. KD needs Boston to win for legacy purposes. The irony is the irony really shows. The records show that it wasn't my era, but I think Bird had more heart than KD. What you say? Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is. I think it's one of those intangible things where Larry Bird was just a killer out there in ways that I hate to say it, man. It's not a lot of killers out there, and I don't want to sound like that old get off my lawn basketball watcher, but that's why I loved watching. I loved watching the Heat because Jimmy was a killer, man. Can you imagine if Jimmy went out there and got 2 points in the fourth quarter? What does that look like? But for whatever reason, when Steph does it, no one says anything. But see, again, I think the fact that no one says anything is an indictment in itself because there aren't any expectations. And then we're just going to rely on what he scored in the third quarter. I think this is what the MO is for Golden State, and this is what I'm seeing in this finals. If you can withstand their third quarter splash, you can beat them. If you don't end up behind like 10 or more going into the fourth quarter, you got the game. Because the third quarter, they're going to light it up.
This is still a game about athleticism and height. Like, even when how about this? Remember that game everybody talks about where Magic like tipped off at center and ended up winning the MVP because he won that game?
Mm-hmm.
He played one game like that. They weren't about to win the series like that without Kareem, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Length and athleticism matters. Magic Johnson went to an NBA Finals after Kareem retired. How did that go? He lost 4-1 to Michael Jordan, didn't he?
You think the Bulls had length and athleticism?
I think they had comparable length and athleticism, and they had the best player on the court. And so when all things comparable and the best player on the court is, So
I think Michael Jordan was I'm trying to think. He's one of the only stars to consistently win with no big men, with no dominant big man on his side. I mean,
but they weren't dominant, but they did have length and athleticism. It's like, so they had guys like Stacey King that was like 6'8", 6'9".
Okay.
That's not a little dude. You know what I'm saying?
He's not. Do you think that Horace Grant was athletic? Cartwright was old. You think Horace Grant was athletic?
Yeah, he was fairly athletic. I mean, Horace Grant was a good 15-10 guy for a long time. Like,
I like Horace Grant.
I like Horace Grant.
I think he was a great.
And Horace Grant's 6'10". So look, you got Stacey King, Horace Grant. That's 6'9", 6'10" right there.
And Cartwright was a 7-footer, even though he was older.
Yeah, Will Purdue 7 feet, even though he's not athletic. From the original team, who else do you have on that original team?
As far as height goes.
Yeah, Craig Hodges is like 6'8", isn't he?
Is he? No. Craig Hodges is short.
No, Craig Hodges is shorter than that.
I don't know if Bill Winnington
Scotty's 6'8". Scotty's 6'8" with 7-foot wingspan, Mike. I mean,
Scotty got the wingspan. I always thought Scotty was 6'7".
Might be 6'7". Still got 7-foot wingspan. That's still athleticism.
With that second three-peat team, we
and you got Mike. That's 4. That's 4 guys with length and athleticism because Mike's 6'6", and he got a pretty long wingspan too. Yeah. And he's Mike, so
we used to think that. They used to have Dennis Rodman listed at 6'9". Yeah, Horace Grant was 6'10". 6'8",
6'9". Yeah.
But come to find out, Dennis Rodman was 6'6", which is incredible.
I've seen him in person, met him once.
I mean, because even when you look at Mike and Dennis and Scotty like together, Scotty's the tallest, and they had Dennis Rodman out there guarding Karl Malone, Shaq at some points. Pretty incredible.
See, I always felt like Scotty was like really technically like 6'7" and a half, closer to 6'8", something like that. That's what I'm saying, but
what do you think about Draymond Green doing a podcast after games?
I don't.
You don't?
No, I mean like the game's over, right?
It
He's
is
not like
over.
known as a shooter. You want him in the gym shooting? I mean, is he about to? Is that about to necessarily improve what he does on the court? I think because here's what people have to understand: what has made him great is the things that he does on the intangible and on the hustle side.
He's not
And
doing
those,
any of those.
like yeah, you don't practice those things at what 32 years old after you've been playing. How many games have they played this year? About 100, 110.
You know, this is the thing. I don't have a problem with someone like if Iguodala was doing a podcast after the game. That's cool, whatever. But I think people who are an integral part of what's going on the court, and there has to be a certain level of focus. You know what I'm saying? And I think that even when we have to get ready for our podcast, it's like you have to focus on that. And I think that anytime you have something taking your focus away from what the mission at hand is, I think it's a problem, especially if it's right after the game. I don't expect anybody to be out there in the gym or out there meditating or whatever. But damn, nigga, you might need to look at film or something. Now I can see if you went out there and just bust somebody's ass, and then you get on a podcast after the game, talk your shit. But when you done fouled
No,
out, you got 2 points and 4 rebounds or whatever in an NBA Finals game, you might want to chill out for a second and stop analyzing the game and breaking down the game and break down your game and do better. I think it's a distraction thing too. I mean, not to mention that you're giving the other squad bulletin board material. I don't even know if that even exists in today's time, but you're stirring the pot, you're not playing well, and then you're taking the focus away from what you need to be doing. That's the problem I have with it.
anything else for us, Mike? You want to tell us anything else? Tell us how you really feel
Well,
about Draymond.
also, and the person I blame for that, again, Steph, his lack of leadership. He never could check Draymond.
I'll give you that.
He can't check this man. Like, honestly, man, that has to be, he has to know that, look, the way you're playing is an issue. And the fact that you get out there in the post game and say you played like shit and acknowledge it, that doesn't do anything to rectify
Hey, real
anything.
talk.
And I think number one, and I don't want to drag Steph too much, Steve Kerr needs to be like, listen, man, you gonna either pick the podcast this week or you gonna pick the team this week. I'm gonna have to sit you, man. I'm gonna have to play somebody who's really focused on basketball.
Don't be surprised if he's sitting tonight.
He should be. The way he played on game 3, he should be. Anybody
People
can get you
understand
better numbers than that.
No, this is high stakes where making one move or not making one move can cost you a championship.
Yeah. Sit
It's high
this
stakes.
nigga. Sit this
Yeah.
nigga. And you
Like
know
people
what?
understand
In the
it's
same way
like
he
this
was.
this isn't a dance with who brung you type of thing. This is like, what do I need to do to win right now?
Man,
Right
listen.
today.
At this point, 2 points, 6 fouls. He got 15 fouls and 15 points in this final so far. Anybody could get you better production than that. Sit this nigga down.
I'd have to make him my sixth man right now, Mike.
Sit him.
Yeah, sit him.
He not
And I
making you
wouldn't
better.
start Iguodala either. What's his name? Kaminga?
Yeah.
I would start Kaminga and Looney, and I would go big.
Yeah.
And
And
let
you
him
know
run a lot of
what?
screen and pick and roll. Run a lot of high screen pick and roll with Stephen Clay and what's the other one? And Poole.
Wiggins?
No, Poole.
Poole. Okay.
Oh, I guess actually, you know what? Yeah, I would take give me Wiggins actually, and bring Poole and Draymond off the bench together so that there's some scoring with Draymond. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, listen, man. If you
They need to do something because they better get their ass whooped if they do the same thing.
and
Those
whoever
boys are
you
younger.
put in is probably going to be focused on basketball and not a podcast.
Can I say something right quick?
Mhm.
Boston's younger. They're more athletic. And Golden State is going to have to play smarter to win this series. And they haven't up to this point. And if they get beat like 4-1 or like 4-2, I would knock some of Steph's legacy for this the same way I knocked KD for getting swept by this very same team with lesser parts. Because after Kyrie, you didn't have anybody. And I think with Kyrie, he's somewhere in Hotepville. So,
And I know a lot of people are gonna sit there and look at even if they lose 4-1, right? They're gonna look at Steph's overall stats and they're gonna be like, well, he didn't have any help, blah blah blah. You have to consider these fourth quarters. Period. You can't go out there and say, you know what, he played great in the first and third quarter. It takes 4 quarters to win a game. The fourth quarter is the most important quarter of the game in a close game. Correct, Coop? I don't think there's anybody that's won a game completely in the third quarter. You got to play all 4 quarters, and so that makes the fourth quarter definitively the most important one, right?
I concur. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm just adding some more lists to my top 100 list. Can we talk about my top 100 list right quick?
Yeah. I think I still got it here. I know you sent me an update. I didn't put the update on there, but
No, it's cool.
but
Well, look,
we'll
you don't
still
have to
do.
put it up, but we can just talk about it. I mean, people can go up. I mean, isn't it, like, where is it? It's somewhere?
I got it right here. Top 100 list. This is the list that Coop put together. There were some criticisms of your list. What did you
Well,
want to address on the list first before we get to that?
well, let me address something.
Mm-hmm.
I did it in under 24 hours, so I need people to relax. They had a whole panel of people that they probably like sat down. Like, you get what I'm saying? Already
Yeah.
had time to come up with their list, come to the table together, and then go through a discourse. This was literally a riff. I told you I named 78 albums off the top of my head before I even paused and like came up for air. And so what I'm going to say is that I would like a little bit more time.
Oh yeah, and we're putting it together too, because
Right.
did you see the bracket that I put up there? I was trying to figure out how we need to do this properly. Shoot, I should have
Hold
put the
on.
bracket in the chat, but go ahead.
Well, hold on. I believe our behind the stage or behind the scenes talk, we just agreed to meet again next week. We're going to take a photo of it this time for people, so people that know that we actually like do live in the same city.
Yeah, we
And
actually
that
know
that's
each
really
other.
happening. And we actually know each other. That's actually happening. And I would say let's do 250 albums, because one thing that I found
Hmm.
that I realized is that to do this comprehensively and properly, do need a little bit more time. So I would say let's give us about a month, at least, to like really. I mean, really, no, I need 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, I think that the month process, and I'll do this on my end. We could just continuously put polls up, right? Because we put a poll up with some of the albums that were on your back end, because I know you had Wu-Tang Forever at 100, and I think War Report was at 99. So I put that up in the community.
Love the war.
And so people picked Wu-Tang Forever 78% over the War Report 22%. Shout out to JD Diesel. He says, no dog food, or did I miss it?
No, dog food. I'll say this: dog food is one of those albums that I would probably consider for the top 100 that I didn't like necessarily like think of offhand. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I think it's top 100. But I definitely say it would be in the top 125. Like, definitely. I mean, I don't think people understand. It's like this is a lot of great stuff, like, to go through. Like,
Well, this is what I want to go through. I want to go
somebody
through
said I
some of
didn't
the
have Me Against
polls.
the World on here. I thought I had Me Against the World on here. Am I
It
tripping?
should be on there.
Me Against the World is on here. I'm not tripping. Machiavelli's on here too.
Okay. So these are the polls I put up, and here are the results, right? Got Lost Tapes over the Carter 3, 73% to 27%.
Mhm.
Got Breaking Adams over Word Life, 72% to 28%. Mind
I like-
you, in that Lost Tapes poll, it was 940 votes. And in the Breaking Adams and Word Life poll, it was 368 votes. So I think that gives us a really good barometer of where people are at with that. And the other one, we got Into the Stage over Uptown Saturday Night, 58% to 42%. That's
I would call that-
375 votes. And
I
Wu-Tang
think Into the
Forever
Stage
over
is
the
one-
War Report, 78% to 22%, 506 votes.
That's the first thing I want to address. I think Into the Stage was actually the album where that E is for that East 1999.
Mhm.
So I think that's the album that I missed, that I definitely had in there, that I was bugging about last episode, that I thought that I put in, because I put East 1999 in twice, which I still do think is a top 100 rap album.
Well, what I'm thinking that we can do.
Tell me what you're thinking.
What I'm thinking that we can do is we can put together these polls and these lists, right? And just kind of have different albums going up against each other to the point where, and we'll do it in an organized fashion, where we can kind of pull together, like seeing where a certain album is rated. Like, let's just say in this situation, War Report lost horribly to Wu-Tang Forever. And then you got, I guess let's just say Uptown Saturday Night. Maybe we need to see where people feel about War Report versus Uptown Saturday Night. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of finding those medians. Like, Lost Tapes beat the Carter 3 73% to 27%. So at this point, we know the Carter 3 can't go up against Lost Tapes. We need to have it go against something else, and we need to have Lost Tapes go against something else too. And maybe we can kind of find where certain things register. Now, granted, it's going to take time, but it's going to come out more accurate. I'm just saying.
That depends on who's there for the day. That's still aggregated data, but I get you though.
I think that, yeah, even though it depends, but we talking about 500 something people voting. I mean, it's one of those things where even if a couple people missed out on voting, it's probably going to turn out similar ways. You know what I mean?
No, I dig. But
yeah, Lil Twan says, no recession or Thug Motivation 101?
No.
Jason says, and you're the Jeezy fan here. Jason says, what up, fellas? Peace and blessings. Currency hit us with another one. Spring cleaning. Yes, spring cleaning too. We're probably going to talk about it Wednesday because we want to really give it a real ear. But go ahead, Coop.
I am a Jeezy fan, and I've always said, give me that Trap or Die 2, and then that Trap or Die 1, and then we'll get into his album catalog. And I also said, I don't do mixtapes or compilations and soundtracks for my top whatever list when I do that, because that's separate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's not really fair overall to like kind of throw those in. It's like, do I love Sound Bombing more than I love some of these albums that I put in the top 100? Probably.
Sound Bomb is not fair to include.
Right, that's what I mean. Sound Bomb is not fair to include. And then you have to start getting funny about stuff where you lose stuff. It's like both you and I feel like Benz or Beamer is a top 3 to 5 Outkast songs. Does that make New Jersey Drive? Do we supposed to put New Jersey Drive in the top 250 because it's got Benz or Beamer and Can't You See on there by total?
This is the way I look at compilations.
With Biggie's verse?
Compilations are like all-star games. They're supposed to be great. Like, it's like all-star teams. It's like compilations like putting together an all-star team, literally, and having them go up against regular teams.
Like, what do I do with The Firm? I'm still trying to figure that out. What is that?
Doesn't really matter what it is.
I don't know what that is. That's not a group.
I mean, it's a super group, but it's not super output. I think that, you know what?
I'm talking about the album. I'm talking about ranking in place on the album.
I hear you. What I was going to say, I think that we might need to do a separate album list for compilations, soundtracks, and super groups. It's enough of those in the culture for those to stand alone.
I know.
The Watch the Thrones of the world, the Distant Relatives of the world, The Firm, Best of Both Worlds, Unfinished Business, you know, stuff like that. Let me get to your list though. What were some of your comments?
What, about my list or about?
Well, no, I was going to read some of the things that people said, and maybe you can respond to.
Yeah. No.
Andrew Smith says, this list is trash, too. No dog food, strictly business. Akumina is actually trash. You know what? I'm done with that. I was done with that comment. Let me go to another one. It's like, cool list. But this list was worse than Rolling Stone. This is the truest, by the way. Because Rolling Stone didn't pretend to even know hip-hop. Coop should have known better. Rolling Stone, not so much. But any top 100 without 4 Lupe albums, Adrenaline Rush, Picture This, and Head to Tails is no top 100. Plus, Illmatic isn't even in the top 200, let alone number 1. Oh, gosh. But let me go to his list, because some of the stuff in here is pretty good. He got number 1. Oh, no. Never mind. He didn't get anything that you didn't get. I want to get to some people that got to some things that you didn't get a chance to get to.
That's what I want to hear, so we can because like I said, it was kind of a one-day riff.
Okay, so what do y'all see missing?
I knew in one day I could do a top 100 that was better than theirs, though. Just without trying too hard.
No, I think you did great. J-Dub says, great pod Wednesday, but I have to rebuke the RZA slander. LOL. Not
Are we
fair to
back with this about
compare.
the whole RZA
Yeah,
thing?
we got to
Let the
talk
RZA
about this
thing
RZA
go.
thing. Not fair to compare to Dre or Ye. If RZA operated like those four,
Mm.
Fourth Disciple and True Master beats would have been produced by RZA too. RZA is the top three candidate. It's
Hey,
about damn time says, "What's up, goats? Finally, Machiavelli is on somebody's list." Yes, sir. Of course. Jay Short says the minstrel show over the listening. Question mark. Yes. Okay.
so where do you want me to start with all of that? What,
Let's
that
start
was
with
a
the
lot.
RZA thing. We'll kind of go back and forth with the list and whatnot. Of course, Brian says there's no Eminem albums that's problematic. We can get to that too. But go to
So,
your RZA thing.
okay, so did I mishear the end of Reunited where he separated himself from Wu Tang Clan and said Wu Tang Clan and RZA? Did that not happen? Did my ears imagine that? Let's just go ahead and clarify like everything that I said. Did did that happen? Yeah, that happened. So that's not slander. Is that ego? Well, hell yeah, that's ego. Okay. Did he not say on the start of this too? I told Shorty she don't need to even go to school. All she needs to do is get the Wu Tang double disc. It's all the education she needs. Is that not arrogant? All right. Are beat wise are his greatest collections of beats not on Into the Wu Tang, only built for Cuban links, Liquid Swords, and Iron Man in particular. And is the beat quality up to the same level after that? Tell me where the slander is. Did he really steal from these motherfuckers? Well, yeah, he did. I didn't say one thing slanderous. I said the truth. Deal with the truth.
007 the super chat says y'all should do a top mixtapes list. Where does Jay Z's Backstage and Nas's Nigga Tape rank? Um,
Backstage got in the club.
Whew, that's a hard record. I'm gonna talk about that. There was some heat on these, and the Dipset and the Locks had some joints too. Listen, that Beanie Siegel in the club.
In the club? Hoo-hoo! I'm back at the club with the snub, twisting up dubs, sipping on Chris, about to smack your.
Yo, that's one of the hardest
That's
Timberland
one of the best
hip hop
Timberland beats.
beats of that era.
That's my favorite Timberland hip hop beat, like on some rap shit. Like
That
that's
shit
on some
was
rap shit.
hard, man. And you know what? Siegel showed us that he could do everything. There was nothing in that period.
There was a video to that too, Mike. They
It
should have
was.
pushed that.
They didn't push that shit at all. You know what
It
got
was
pushed
epic.
from the Backstage? The Maya Best
That's
of
to
Me
me.
remix.
The Best of Me remix, of course, which is literally the track. Guess what? After In the Club on Backstage.
They're
Yeah, it is.
asking did the documentary A Doctor's Advocate make it?
Mm-mm.
That could be problematic.
Is it though?
I think it is. I think that the Doctor's Advocate and the documentary deserve some sort of consideration. But again, I think that we
No,
need.
no, I'm asking. No, no, no. I wasn't being sarcastic. I was really asking because it's like we're gonna have to take time and like formalize the list properly. Because it's like
Definitely.
we literally did it in a day. There's a lot of stuff to go through, and I mean, I felt most bad about missing Run DMC. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't. I felt more bad about missing Run DMC than I did anything else. Just truthfully, because Raising Hell should be on here just because of the impact.
I see. I'm going through a chat right now. It says the sun rises in the east, the shining, Mecca and the Soul Brother. Into the stage. You ended up putting that on there. Um, oh, my phone's out. I thought I was getting a message. All right. When disaster strikes, 93 to infinity, 6 feet deep, black on both sides. Country grammar, naughty by nature, eternal affairs, sitting on chrome, heavy metal. I think
Country grammar is interesting.
country grammar is interesting. You know what, man? I've said it here on this show before, and I'll say it again. I think you disagree with me. You might have went with LL, but I think personally, I think Nelly is the best pure hit maker hip hop's ever seen. He doesn't need a
Yeah,
superstar collaboration to do so. He doesn't
yeah.
need a superstar producer to do so. Nelly can take whatever and make. I mean, really, he can make one of the biggest. He's proven he can make some of the biggest hits in all of music out of nothing. Nobody ever heard of J.E. Nobody ever heard of anybody from St. Louis. He comes to hit you with country grammar. He proved on a crossover level that this singy rap thing could work. on a high level. Now, granted, I know there were people who did it to some degree before him, but on a high level, we're gonna hear songs like "Ride with Me" forever. Like we're
It's a,
literally going to hear songs like "Back That Thing Up" and "Ride with Me" for the rest of our lives.
it's Uncle L, and you say New York City.
Where's your evidence on that? And I love L. L's the first superstar in hip hop, and I just wanna go back and forth with it.
I think he just has so many stuff that plays in so many different genres and waves
What
and
songs are
time
you talking
periods.
about specifically?
I mean, Jingling Baby
Molly
comes to
Mall,
mind. Huh?
Molly Mall.
What's wrong with having?
I'm just saying, like it's different with Nelly because he doesn't need that kind of help. And I'm not knocking the help. I'm just saying, like,
It kind of sounds like you are.
I'm not knocking the help. I'm just giving more credence to a person who did it without possibly, especially at the time, the greatest hip hop producer around.
No, that's fair. Marley was the man.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, you go from Rick to Marley. Yeah. I mean, I'm
You
just
want to know
saying.
what? No. I'm not going to stand on that so firm. I'm going to go find you some evidence.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to go find you some evidence. Yeah.
Kenneth Palmer says, great list, but no Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Naughty by Nature. No DLC. De La Soul is dead.
No one can do it better is on here. Is that number 84?
Let me go to your
That's
list.
the DLC.
De La Soul is dead is at 72.
Yeah.
You already said that, Pete Rock and CL Smooth deserve to be on there. And I know you put together this list fast, and like we said, we're going to do some modifications, and we're going to get to the people and all of that. But in my personal opinion, I think that Main Ingredient's the best Pete Rock and CL Smooth album. Now, obviously, Mecca and the Soul Brother has possibly one of the best hip-hop songs ever made on it in Trouble T. Roy. But I think as an album, I listen to Main Ingredient all the time. Beautiful.
Well, these are the things that we need time to go back over and unpack.
Mm-hmm. But I was going to ask you, though, Naughty by Nature. And I know we were just talking about how underrated Tretch is and how they made some of the biggest hardcore hits of its era. What do you think about them as album makers?
I didn't love them as album makers. And so I think that's one of the things that's kind of going on with Tretch's legacy is that, well, what do you remember off Naughty's albums?
No,
outside
right.
of the singles.
The singles were so big, and I don't know if it was one of those things where the singles were so massive that they dwarfed the rest of the album. But I mean, and maybe some people in the chat can help us out. But what are some great Naughty B-sides and songs that never got released? That were just album songs that are cult classics in that way.
You know what I kind of make it comparable to? This is what we saw with Ja Rule in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's your favorite Ja Rule album?
Vita Vita Vici is probably mine.
But it's the only real rap album he made, though, too. You know what I mean?
And you know what? And I'm going to say this about Nelly, too, because they mentioned Country Grammar. And I don't know if it's because those songs like Ride With Me, E.I., and Country Grammar are so big, but you listen to that album, you know what the singles are. Because the rest of that shit on there is not anywhere near those songs. And I think that's a similar thing to what Naughty has on their level. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you listen to Naughty's albums, you know where the singles are.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's not always a good thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a good thing. Because it's really, especially in the album era, where I used to buy albums so I could listen to the whole thing. It wasn't a streaming era, so if you have albums like that, I'm probably not going to buy your album. I might buy the single. Ohio K says, can we get y'all's list from 101 to 200? So Busta, Beanie, Game, and Jada, to name a few, can get some love. We're going to do that. What's Jada's best album?
I think it's still Kiss the Game Goodbye. It's the first album still, because the first album has has Show Discipline with Nas.
Mm-hmm.
It has We Gon' Make It on it.
Mm-hmm.
It has Knock Yourself Out. It has Put Your Hands Up. It has uh-huh with DMX.
Yep.
It has Feel Me. What else is
What's
on
the
there?
premiere record with the Locks? Ain't none of y'all better than Kiss. Ain't none of y'all
None
better.
of y'all better.
That shit is crazy. That's one of my favorite premiere tracks. Yeah.
Is that on there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That shit's crazy.
Oh yeah.
That shit is crazy.
Yeah, that's the best one. I mean, listen to the songs I just named.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was, yeah.
And even then, it's funny. Back then, that was kind of like underwhelming because people had such high expectations for Jada going solo. That's how high the expectations were. His best album, 20 years in, 22 plus years in, was underwhelming when it was released. Jay Short with the super chat says, remember a few weeks ago, people were talking about nostalgic bias. Now's the time to show up and argue for the new school to be on the list. Good luck. It's true, I mean, it's tough, man. These are some tough records. Derek Matthews says, Mike, if you're going to be real about Pharrell, he hasn't been consistent or effective for about a decade because the heart and soul was always Chad. I'm going to be real. We're going to talk about these new songs that came out today. 007 in the super chat says, LL equals versatility with destroying your speakers. Jingling baby, rock the bells, lounging. Love you better. 4321. Mama said knock you out. Head sprung. Doing it. Shall I continue? You know I show up for Queens. Yeah. The king of Queens is definitely LL Cool J when it comes to that. I mean, you know. LL
Mike is speaking to the producer being involved when he's talking about the quality of the hit maker and the artist, though. So when I'm bringing up Jingling Baby or Mama Said Knock You Out, he's saying, well, Marley Marl is, considered to be the greatest producer of all time.
This is my thing.
When this stuff is being made. So
this is my thing. I feel like you put Nelly in a room by himself with whatever, he could bring out a hit. Whereas LL, you gotta get some comparable people.
Hey, Mike, you want to know what I want to do?
He's one of the best hit makers, period. But I say pure, and I'm using that as the term that I'm running with. Pure meaning Nelly can pretty much make a hit out of anything with anybody. When he did Dilemma, he went out and got Kelly Rowland when Beyonce was the popping member of Destiny's Child, and made one of the biggest songs of his era. Like, Nelly can do those things.
Mike, did you say best or did you say pure?
I said best pure. I said both.
Okay. So he may not be the best hit maker, but he might be the most pure hit maker. The best hit maker is LL. Nelly might be the most pure hit maker, but he's not a better hit maker than L. You don't have enough evidence when you say that.
Well, if we were going in a versus
together real slick, like Mike, that was slick.
If we're going in a versus, I would never pick Nelly over LL Cool J.
That's what I'm saying. So it's very problematic how you just did that.
In the new jam says, shout out from South Africa. I don't see Keith Murray's Enigma. Shout out to South Africa. Yes, Enigma is a dope album. And shout out to my homeboy Damaris, man. It's his birthday, man. He was a big Enigma and Keith Murray fan. I remember we was in college. That was all he was bumping.
I don't know if Enigma's going to make top 250, Mike.
OGTK Cole says, remember Nelly didn't write those hits. Cardan Mace Boy did.
We don't have time for that. Oh, you want to know?
Shout out to OGTK Cole. We want to have you on the show. We want to have you on the show because I want to talk about these Eminem battle raps that we don't have footage of.
Harlem World needs to go in the 100 to 200. Hold on. So listen to what I want to say, Mike. Do you mind if I read down the list again? Because I want to tell you what's happened. And I haven't even been through all the comments yet. But just from the list that I started making earlier today, when I went through about 3 comments, and since we've been doing the show, I got about 30 albums that people are saying should be in the top 100. That's you saying I should take a third of my list out. So I want to hear the albums. I'm gonna read them out. I want to hear people tell me which albums that they hear that are not top 100 albums. You feel me? Because here's the problem: Illmatic.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a nation of millions to hold us back.
Right.
Only built for Cuban links. Aquemini, Doggy Style, Paid in Full, Life After Death, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers.
Hold on, I'm going to stop you when I get to one that I'm questioning, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you do it too, The Chronic. We got to audit each other in this process, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Low End Theory, The Infamous, Ready to Die, Supreme Clientele, Liquid Swords, The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick, Death Certificate, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, Criminal Minded, All Eyes on Me, 3 Feet High and Rising, Reasonable Doubt, Midnight Marauders, The Diary, Soul Food, B, Muddy Waters, Moment of Truth, It Was Written, Me Against the World, America's Most Wanted, The Chronic 2001, Good Kid, Mad City, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Get Rich or Die Trying, The Blueprint, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, Follow the Leader, AT Aliens, When Things Fall Apart, Stakes is High, Machiavelli, The 7-Day Theory, Iron Man, The Score, Stillmatic, To Pimp a Butterfly, The Fix, Like Water for Chocolate, Riding Dirty, The College Dropout, Fear of a Black Planet, Quick is the Name, Pray for Paris, By All Means Necessary, Wanted Dead or Alive by Cool G Rap and DJ Polo, Don't or Die, The Black Album, Illadelph Half-Life, 400 Degrees, The Carter 2, Stankonia, Daytona, Radio, 2014 Forest Hills Drive, Trap Music, Victory Lap, Balloon Mind State, Hardcore, People's Instinctive Travels, Alfredo, Hell on Earth, No Way Out, De La Soul is Dead, Late Registration, Damn, Long Live the Cane, The Minstrel Show, East 1999, Murder Music, Return of the Boom Back, Coming Out Hard, Mr. Don't Play, Niggas for Life, One for All, No One Can Do It Better, We Can't Be Stopped, King, The Lost Tapes, The Carter 3, God Forgives But I Don't, Mad Villainy, Word Life, Breaking Atoms, Mr. Scarface is Back, Life Story, Uptown Saturday Night, If You're Reading This It's Too Late, Hard to Earn, Nocturnal, The War Report, Wu-Tang Forever. Y'all think I got 30 albums that don't belong?
Yeah, that's why we got to take it to polls because, everything that was on there seemed pretty legit. I mean, I think there was maybe 5 or so that you could debate
Like,
with
I'm going to tell you the albums that I heard that it's like, okay, Quick is the Name. That might be more of a West Coast classic to people than an overall classic. I love some Quick is the Name.
Mm-hmm.
2014 Forest Hills Drive. Balloon Mind State.
No.
See, I already know how you feel about Balloon Mind State. You like Balloon Mind State. See, and I was just being objective about this. I put Balloon Mind State ahead of De La Soul is Dead. I like De La Soul is Dead more.
De La Soul is Dead is the best album they ever made, and it's an incredible album. I think Balloon Mind State could possibly be number 2, though.
See, you're not a fan of 3 Feet High and Rising like I am.
I love 3 Feet High and Rising, but I think they just got better. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like 3 Feet High and Rising is very people's instinctive when it comes to, De La, except for it just wasn't such a drastic change. They just continued to improve their model.
They're not as trippy. They're more relatable on 3 Feet High and Rising. I think that's the best way I can see. Huh?
You think so?
Yes, then they are on Balloon Mind State, yes.
Balloon Mind State is just beautiful, man. But, I mean, the people spoke. People didn't love it per se, and that's why that was the last album that, Prince Paul made with him. So
I don't love it the way that you love it. That's not to say that I don't love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to say the Carter 3, God Forgives and I Don't, Word Life, maybe Life Story,
too late, maybe
Nocturnal. Like I can see some stuff, but I don't see 30, not 30.
Brian says, I'm originally from the boot. How y'all feel about these albums? How you feel about these albums? Juvenile, 400 Degrees, that's on there, and Lil Boosie Badass. Boosie a legend down there, man.
He is.
I don't think it's top 100 in my opinion. And see, I guess this is the thing too. I guess we don't include mixtapes. That's a whole nother bracket, right? Jay Short says Apocalypse 91 gotta be on there. Several classics. It's a dope album. Public Enemy went crazy on there. Brother's Gonna Work It Out. Can't Trust It. Shut 'Em Down. I like the original version of Shut 'Em Down more than the Pete Rock version, and I'm a Pete Rock guy. Bizarre Ride from the Far Side too. That's one of the comments that I saw in there was the fact that the
So,
hieroglyphic era wasn't really getting much love, and
oh, you want to know
that
what?
side of Cali.
Bizarre Ride from the Far Side
Hmm.
and Lab Cat in California. Um, I don't think they're top 100 albums, but I think they are like 100 to 150, both of them.
I love
Uh,
Lab Cabin.
huh?
I love Lab Cabin.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually I'm going in my notes right now, and I'm just putting Far Side and Two down because I think both of their albums were pretty dope, like that. Like to be in the next one. I don't think that they're in the next set. You remember Casual with Fear Itself? What did you think about Fear Itself by Casual?
I'm not familiar with it.
You need to listen to Casual's Fear Itself. I was
Yeah,
thinking about Casual's Fear Itself was really like a moniker. Casual was really like a trendsetter for them and that hieroglyphic crew.
I'm
I
gonna go
was thinking
listen.
about what's Dell's album?
My brother George.
My brother George and the other one. He had two. Uh,
OGTK Cole says America's Most Wanted is too low. It should be higher than 30. And I love De La Soul is Dead as well.
yeah,
Higher,
Casual.
when you say higher, you mean rank closer to number one? Or 007 says Volume 2 over if you're reading this is too late.
Okay. I
Ohio
was
K
leaning more
says,
towards Volume 1, but Volume 2 as well.
how do y'all feel about Big L Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous? It
I like.
sounds about 100 worthy to me.
Um, that was one of the ones I may have missed. I'm a big fan of that album.
I know
I
you
actually
are.
got to meet
Yeah.
Big L. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting discussion when you talk about Volume 2 and if you're reading this, it's too late. I mean, if you play both of them side by side, I feel like if you're reading this, it's too late, even though we got Quentin Miller as a ghostwriter on that album and all of the controversy that came with that. Drake
Right.
sounds more like he's in his individual zone where Jay probably made the better album track for track, but it's so collaborative heavy where it's like I don't even know if Jay gave us an identity on Volume 2. And I think that's the only real issue with Volume 2 when it comes to its longevity and us talking about Volume 2 as far as like one of the greatest cuz he doesn't even really list Volume 2 as one of his greatest like that either. I think that's the one whenever he talks about his albums, he kind of treats as this expendable because I think that the way it aged in relation to the rest of them is different because it was so collaborative heavy.
hmm And it's hard to
Um,
perform tracks with people that you don't have. You get what I'm saying?
and a lot of those people, respectfully, kind of fell off the face of the earth and weren't really around in that next era. So it kind of made those songs even more dated in that way.
Like, think about it. When are you gonna hear Reservoir Dogs live? Ever?
Yeah, I
Ever?
mean,
Never hear
I
Reservoir
mean, do
Dogs
we
live?
even want to see in 2022 Jay-Z hits the stage? Do you want to see him perform Can I Get a What What?
Not really.
No, you don't. Do we want to hear Jay perform Jigga What Jigga Who in 2022? Those aren't the songs that stood the test of time as he has. Nas the Goat says, Coop, Black on Both Sides is better than Alfredo. I disagree with that. And I
I miss
love
Black
most
on,
stuff.
I miss Black on Both Sides, but it's not better than Alfredo in my opinion. But I did miss it.
I love most stuff. And I always thought that Black on Both Sides is a nice album and it has some really great songs here and there. I think he's spazzing on Brooklyn and all of that, but I don't feel like most totally reached his potential from end to end on that album. Even when I listen to some of his high moments on the Static, like Top Priority and shit like that, that's most Def to me. You know what I'm saying? Like he has such a high ceiling that it would take a end to end classic for him to reach his potential. And as good as Black on Both Sides is, I just don't feel like he reached his full potential on every track. And I know that might sound like I'm being too hard on him, but damn, you made Miss Fat Booty on there. That's on there. That's on there. Brooklyn's on there. Umi Says is on there. And so is what's the song with Kweli? Know That. These are high levels. So it's like when you make Mr. Nigga, which is dope, and mathematics is crazy, but it's like you got to keep that intensity the whole album. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hard on most.
We've got 37 more albums just in this time that we've been doing this show. Outside of the 100 that I've done, 37 more.
Well, when we put Black on Both Sides in these polls, I'm interested to see how well Black on Both Sides and the Black Star album are gonna do.
No, like I would take
Because in
I
my
would take
personal
black on both.
opinion,
No, I'll take black on both sides over like Word Life or God
hmm
Forgives, but I don't. No, no, no.
I'm with
I can
that.
see that. Yeah, I'm with that.
This was what was that? 1999 or was it? It was 1999.
99.
I remember like Water
But
for Chocolate came out.
but you see how when I try to put modern stuff in there, what people do,
Yeah, I know. That's why we need a polling system.
right?
Um, 007 with the super chat says Jay didn't give an identity, but he gave us his official arrival, his announcement of, "Hey, I'm here, and none of y'all can do nothing." Just saying. That was his whole, claim to the throne per se, Volume 2. And it's interesting that he did it in a collaborative way, and he did it in a way where it was like, I'm going to show versatility in ways that at the time a lot of New York MCs weren't able to do on a high level. All that stuff we talk about Biggie and his versatility and what he left to the game, I think that's what Jay was attempting to do on Volume 2, and he accomplished it, but he accomplished it through collaborations as opposed to doing it, as a single soloist.
No,
For lack of a better term, he doubled down on the Notorious Thugs thing.
I'm about to say Big was collaborative, but what Big did that Jay didn't do on Volume 2 is the ownership of the songs, even on the collaboration, feels like it's Big. Like when you're hearing the beat The Last Days and you're hearing the Locks rap over the beat, and then Big comes in over the beat, you're like, oh, no, 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 Havoc made that beat for Big.
Well, I think that the quintessential moment in that and what you're talking about is More Money, More Problems.
Yeah.
And as they say, like, clearly that was Puff and Mace's vibe, or what ended up being Mace's vibe. But once Biggie came in there, it was no question whose song that was.
It's mine. It's mine. Right. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That ownership. Even when he's on Jay on I Love the Dough, that's more of a beat that's suited for Jay.
Yeah, it is. No, it's the Angela Winbush shit. I've said this before. Jay-Z sounds incredible over Angela Winbush samples. And you're right. Yes. That was tailored for him.
It was tailored for him. And that's the only reason, listen. And
they probably brought the record in.
That to be a draw. It's like, oh, well, he got set up for success. That's what he does well.
They had Angela Winbush on the record.
Because this is what I mean. Big's the type of dude that's almost like I felt like he picked that track because he knew Jay would shine on it, and he was fucking with Jay like that.
And he had Angela Winbush on the actual record.
He had Angela Winbush on the actual record.
Right. Like, yo, you do well Angela on her Winbush. Shit?
Yeah. It's not like on some sample shit.
Yeah. 93 Till Infinity is one of the best group albums ever. Top 100 easy. Also, Blowout Cone. They had Blowout Cone pretty high on that Rolling Stone list too. Jay Short with the super chat says, y'all got to do a Diggable Planets and Gangstar in the next 100, unless I missed it. Daily Operation, Moment of Truth, Reaching. Moment of Truth is brilliant.
Moment of Truth is 27 on our list.
Very, very great album.
Can I say something? I listened to Moment of Truth today. Moment of Truth is personally like one of my favorite rap albums ever. You Know My Steez is one of the just best pure unadulterated hip hop songs I've ever heard. Like, I love You Know My Steez. That's like the best start off to a rap album, in my opinion. Like, that shit gets me going. Just like when you hear Guru talk and the way that beat drops and the meth sample, and it's what rap sounds like in the spring and summertime to me.
I was just about to say, Royalty does that for me, and Royalty has like this winter, fall type feel. Shit's beautiful.
It's beautiful. They got Work on there.
Yeah.
Robin Hood Theory, Above the Clouds, Militia, The Trail, Make 'Em Pay, Moment of Truth, the song, man. It's JFK to LAX.
Yep. Jermaine Young with Super Chat says, although you might not want to hear those songs in 2022, those Jay songs were hits. So he's going to perform them. Also, what number was it was written? Let me get to that real quick.
And Hard to Earn was on the list too. Hard to Earn is like, hold on, where is
I
Hard
see
to Earn?
it
I
was
know Hard
written
to
at
Earn is.
28.
Yeah, I know Hard to Earn is on here.
Well,
Hard
I
to
mean,
Earn
the
is at
thing is,
97.
yeah, they were hits in the moment, but he doesn't perform those records now. Like, what songs from outside of Hard Not Life itself? What songs from Volume 2 does Jay perform? But you know what? It's been a minute since Jay performed, period. I think that the songs that it seems like he goes back to a lot, obviously, Public Service Announcement. Um,
Stadium Flow.
yeah, definitely. You Don't Know, speaking of Stadium Flow.
Stadium Flow.
Um, I don't know, man. Jay's performances now, it's one of those things where the last time that he toured heavy, and correct me if I'm wrong, was when him and Beyonce did the On the Run 2 tour. I know my guy Ron went to that. I don't know exactly what Jay had in his set list. I can look it up, but thing is, man, when I see Jay-Z tickets and when I see them at a certain price point, I know that he's not going to perform the records that I like. So it's no use in me going. Does that make sense?
No.
Because anybody that's going to pay $300 for a Jay-Z ticket's probably not going to see him perform.
You're not going to get the
Heart of
records
the
that
City.
you want.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Like, I'm about to say, he's not going to tell B to go to the back so he can do Friend of Foe in Streets is Watching for me. I don't think that's happening.
Right. And again, I want to hear at least Can't Knock the Hustle. But anybody that's paying $300 for a Jay-Z ticket, they want to hear Dirt Off Your Shoulders.
Can I Live? Is Can I Live? Is that
that's not happening. No. You pay that kind of money for a Jay-Z ticket, you're getting Dirt Off Your Shoulders. You're getting Empire State of Mind. You're getting Run This Town. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're getting those records.
So sweet.
So, yeah, I mean, look, I think I caught Jay at the last real sweet spot, man, when I saw him, like, right before the Black Album.
That's a good time.
So it's like, at that point, he had hits out, but he still was at a level where it's like, I'm going to perform some stuff for my core fans. And he performed everything. And he took you through a whole emotional ride for like 3 hours. And I'm like, yo, man, this dude's catalog is crazy. And that was back in like 2002. A-Train says, I don't think Zero gets enough credit he deserves. Zero's dope.
Zero from Houston?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Zero dope.
But yeah, man, so I don't even know what Jay puts on his set list now, but Volume 2 stuff, it's not there. I think Big Pimpin' probably is there. Maybe. I don't know. You might get Hard Not Life. Maybe. But everything else on Volume 2, I think it was for that time period. And you're not going to get a Can I Get Her? Just off of content and subject matter alone. You might get Big Pimpin' for nostalgic value or something, but yeah. But do you want to talk about some of this new music that came out today? Because I got some bold predictions, unless you want to talk about the list a little bit more.
No, I mean, as long as people are done switching half of the list.
No. What we're going to do is, man, we're going to get some polls going on just to see what things stand, because you guys surprise me all the time, like what the masses believe and, what we believe. So.
No, like another one I was thinking of is like, where does Flesh of My Flesh and Blood of My Blood go? Like DMX's second album, which I think is pretty dope too.
It's dope, man. But you know what? For me personally, and
it's not top 100. I'm just saying we're doing a list of 250 now. Where does something like that go? Because that belongs for sure.
Yeah, it does.
Black Out on there.
It's important too. You said what? About a Black Album?
Got Blackout on there. Blackout's one of the best posse cuts ever.
You know what? I'm gonna spend some time this weekend and go listen to Flesh of My Flesh. I ain't listened to it in a minute.
Oh man, like coming from where I'm from with Mary J. Blige. The Dogs for Life used to be my dog. You was in my left titty. Ain't no way you're gonna stop my flow. Ain't no love for me. Slippin's on there. The Omen's on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
shout out to Marquez Davis.
You don't like Swiss's beats, Mike, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that was my thing.
Mike, X on there though.
Yeah,
X
you're right.
The writing.
He's better. I don't want to say better.
He's better. He's a better writer. He's not a better MC because it's hard to recapture some of that passion when it's like you're making $100,000 a week. But
yeah. Marquez Davis with the $20 super chat. We appreciate the love. He says, You're right, Mike. My favorite Jay-Z song is Somehow, Someway off the Blueprint 2. That
Cool.
song to this day is still incredible. Look,
That's
man,
my.
a
Hold on. Can I
tree
tell you
grows from
something?
Brooklyn. I love that record, man.
Can I tell you something? I love Somehow, Some Way more than I love This Can't Be Life.
I do too.
Because I think it's more inspirational. Like, it's hard to
No,
listen to This Can't Be Life sometimes.
Siegel.
Huh?
Siegel's verse on there?
Seagull crazy.
Siegel's verse on there? How they gonna feed us? Yo, see, all right.
See.
This is my belief. Those guys knocked it out of the park all 3 times that they collabed
Yeah,
together.
3 for 3.
I'm talking
3 for
about
3.
Jay, Scarface, and Beanie Siegel. And in my personal opinion, on all 3 songs, each one of them had the best verse each time. Guess Who's Back is Jay. Somehow, Someway is Siegel. This Can't Be Life is Face.
This Can't Be Life is Face. No. I'll give you that. No, I'll give you that. Yep.
And they would have made such a great album together.
They would have. You
You
want to know what it should have been? It should have just been a flat, like 10 songs, real quick, in and out.
It would have been great.
Bam. No talk, no pub, no nothing. Just get it done.
They showed us versatility because, I mean, Somehow, Someway, and This Can't Be Life are similar, but Guess Who's Back is a banger. And honestly, let's just keep it real.
Banger. That's yay.
With the help of Kanye West, they
yay.
would have really been able to make a very diverse album that would have banged. And he would have made sure that everybody was in pocket and doing what they do best. Man there with the super chat says, y'all have none of Busta's first 3. Murder Music, What the Album, Lord Finesse, The Awakening, Blackout. I love Blackout, but I can't put it there. Bun B, Source gave it 5 mics, Trilogy, and more. I do want to talk about Busta because that's another person that, you know, in kind of terms of album making that I know you're not super high on. DJ Bruce Almighty says, where would y'all rank Master P's Ghetto D? It's a good question too.
I just wrote Ghetto D and What the Album down.
Okay.
What do you think about There's a Dark Side, Mike?
I'm a Muddy Waters guy. Is that on there?
Of course it is. Muddy Waters is right up. Muddy Waters is right next to B, if I'm not mistaken. It's like 26, 27. Everybody's a Muddy Waters guy. Like, right.
I think I'm gonna add that to my playlist this weekend again, just so I can get a refresher on it.
That's what I mean. People do not understand when you're making a list of just 100 rap albums. That's why they did 200, and it took a panel of them. Do you know how hard it is?
Oh, it's very difficult stuff. When you told me that you were doing 100, I was like, damn. All right, cool. But I want to ask you about Busta Rhymes albums wise, because I personally feel like ELE is Busta Rhymes' best album.
I feel it's The Coming.
I figured you might have went there. Okay.
But I think
let's have a quick debate about that.
Why did 200?
Huh?
Do you think The Cummins or ELE's a top 100 rap album?
I think so. Yeah. But see, again, I'm kind of biased when it comes to stuff like ELE and Blackout. They came in my primitive years. I had never heard somebody just spaz on a whole album like that, like Busta Rhymes did on ELE. And honestly, when we talk about chemistry and sounding great together and bouncing off of each other, I never really heard anything in our era like Redman and Method Man and what they did on that album either. So I might be a little bit biased to that. Now, as far as production-wise, I think Blackout, you know, it's not that great production-wise. But me personally, listening to both of them and their chemistry, I really didn't care about that. Blackout was one of those albums that when you got in my car, I kept in the CD player, and niggas wanted me to change it when I was playing it. You know what I mean? It was one of those. But ELE now, man, Busta is a beast on that album, man. I'll say this, man. I don't think anybody would have gotten on that album in the zone that Busta was in and out-rapped him on any song.
Okay, so listen to what I'm about to say respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this before. Well, give me some specific evidence, not the general evidence that you just provided me with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little biased there.
No, but give me some specific things that make you say that about ELE. You get what I'm saying?
Well, Everybody Rise.
Okay.
And when he came in on, what was the song after that? Na 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 na. I'm on live right now.
But you don't remember the name of the song, so that's
Well, no, it was one of those songs where you just spaz on, like you know what I'm saying? It's holy amazing grace about face total erase you niggas off the face of the place. But see again, I'm more of a Bullyfoot rap fan when it comes to I like when
right.
niggas is just rapping. And I can
That
listen
don't
to
make it
that.
classic.
No,
That
I'm
doesn't
with
make
you
it
on
top
that.
100.
Those are hard to argue that they're classic because it's not about the content being heavy. It's not about like, oh, okay, he hit this area in this, or it's
Oh,
like I feel this on this. It's just rapping at a real high level. So,
Leroy Green had to help you. He said, "Where we about to take it" was the song.
oh
Like,
yeah, that's the name of the song. I mean, you
you
know,
know, I don't want Leroy helping us, Mike. Don't let Leroy help you.
when I'm on live, this stuff happens. It's so
Hold on,
many
give me some
songs that
more
I
of
love on
ELE.
there.
Hold on, give me some more of ELE.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first single off ELE.
Yeah, that's the
Isn't it?
first single, and you got not fired up, but what was the one they had the Mountain Dew commercial? Uh, one more time, I hit y'all whatever.
Tear the roof off.
Yeah, Teddy Roof Off's on there, and I loved because they did the double video with Teddy Roof Off, and they did dun 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 keeping it moving, keeping it wild, and keep the cheddar stacking and piling. But now we happy and smiling because now we been good doing. And the song with Janet's on there too. Wishing you could fuck around with me and my niggas. I'll be double the wild and double the bitches, double the figures. Yeah, I love that album. But again, it's hard for me to make an argument for it because again, it had the hits just like any other Busta Rhymes album. But see, the thing in hip hop, you kind of got to have substantive records in the album, and it doesn't have that. It had the record with Mystical, which I love too. But yeah, I mean, it's
I'm
hard
looking at
to.
the stuff. Yeah, I'm looking at the stuff on here, and it's like all the dope stuff on here is the stuff that we heard play in the clubs and on the radio, though, and that's the problem with the album. And that's usually a problem with Busta's albums in general.
Well, the thing is, all the stuff is dope, but it's all in a similar vein. It doesn't give you range musically. It's just him on the album just spazzing. Very similar to Muddy Waters in that way. Nas the Goat says, "What about Beanie Siegel? The Truth."
Not top 100, but I love What's Your Life Like? Stop, Chill. Remember Stop, Chill? Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Chill.
Double O
Relax.
Seven says, honestly, the Big Bang was super enjoyable by Busta. See, my thing about the Big Bang, and I think on a technical level, the Big Bang's a dope album, but it sounds more like Dre than it sounds like Busta to me.
True. I
Now,
agree.
and I think around the time when Disaster Strikes, which is another dope album, and ELE came out, Busta found a whole new sound within himself. Now, The Coming is rah rah Busta, and you're never gonna get that rapper again. So the fact that you picked that album as your favorite Busta album, I get that. But I
Hold
personally
on.
think he's just a much better rapper on ELE.
I get it, but it's like, well, Woo-Ha is on the coming,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything Remains Raw.
Yeah,
It's a Party by Jeanne.
I could argue, man, that the
Ill Vibe with
singles.
Q-Tip.
Yeah,
Ill
no, it's
Vibe with
dope.
Q-Tip is on there, right? And Ill Vibe on there.
Yo vibes on there. But we got another album with Everybody Rise, Tear the Roof Off,
I love
Give
Tear the
Me
Roof
Some
Off.
More, Party
Love
Over
Give Me Some
Here.
More.
You got the song with Janet. I love the last couple of songs on that. What You Want, the song with
You want to know what?
Mystical.
You want to know what, Mike? I'm actually going to come up off my opinion. You're right. ELE is better than The Coming. Like when you actually think about it and look at it song for song and the MC that he is, ELE is a better album than The Coming. It doesn't have the awe factor of Everything Remains Raw and Woo-Ha. And I think that's where some of it's from too. And
Yeah.
also too, as somebody that was a fan of the whole native tongues, it was nice to hear Q-Tip on all the rah-rah joint on Ill Vibe, and I felt like when Disaster Strikes and ELE missed that.
Now,
That
granted,
vibe.
I'm not gonna sit here and trip like it's even that far apart. But Common also had Flip Mode versus Death Squad on it.
And Abandoned Ship.
And I was just about to say, I love Abandoned Ship.
Mm-hmm.
I love Abandoned Ship. I
I
love
like
the
it
way
just for the
Busta's
hook. The
rapping
hook
on
alone
there.
is worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
Just his energy, yeah.
Yeah. Jay Short with the super chat says, to be fair, Mike, the production on ELE was a 10. I think that I would say this. You know, Busta developed this style. I mean, I won't say his style like he's a producer, but you know, like when you hear a certain beat, it's like, yo, that's a Slick Rick beat. Mm-hmm. Around that ELE time, Busta developed this thing where it's like you hear a certain calypso style beat, it's like that's a Busta Rhymes beat. I think DJ Scratchator was making a lot of that stuff too, but he created an identity for other people to duplicate when they make stuff for him. You know what I mean?
You know what? Like, hold on, Mike. We need to pull up When Disaster Strikes right quick.
When Disaster Strikes got joints. We got somebody in the super chat saying, dangerous. Put your hands where my eyes can see. Body rock. Fire it up.
Rhymes galore.
When does that Rhymes galore is my shit.
That's the shit.
Yo, Rhymes galore is crazy. The Fire It Up remix with the Knight Rider beat when he started out the video. Rhymes galore. Rhymes galore. What's the Flip Mode song on there?
No, Body Rock, Dangerous, one with Erykah Badu.
Yep.
The We Could Take It Outside with
We
Jamal.
Could Take It Outside. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's
We
what
Could Take It Outside.
That's what I was thinking about too. I was like, hold on, where's that record? There it is.
Yeah, We Could Take It Outside was hard.
Very compelling arguments. You want to know what? You can honestly say that you want to know what if you think When Disaster Strikes. I'm going to have to come up off my Buster list, Mike. You know what I mean? I think
Busta's first three are hitting, man. And it's one of those things, it's kind of like, you know, for lack of better comparison, it's kind of like Janet Control, Rhythm Nation, and Janet. It's like you could, you know, I don't want to say, you know what I mean, but as far as
I don't know what you mean.
But let me finish.
No, I don't.
You can have three different people. You can have three different people, and one person would say The Cummins their favorite Busta album. Another would say Disaster Strikes your favorite Busta album, and another one would say ELE. They're all so different, but they're all at that level. And I think he only fell off that level after ELE, to be honest. Like, Anarchy is not even in the conversation. Genesis ain't in the conversation. He came back with The Big Bang Theory, but again, my thing with The Big Bang Theory is it don't sound like Busta Rhymes to me. It's a good album. J-Dub with the super chat says, Busta's one of the few that can rhyme over Dilla's. The Shining was hard. There's a song that Dilla did on Anarchy, too. Anarchy just came too quick, man. I think that was one of the missteps. And we talk about Jigga's consistency in the 90s. Busta was coming out every year, too.
You want to know what? I think Anarchy was too much of a switch too fast. Because when I'm looking back at these albums, part of the problem with them is that they happen so fast and he hits you so hard.
Yep.
Hits you with so much that you maybe got a little busted out by the time Anarchy came along, too. Because his personality is really, really big. And he didn't take any breaks.
Anarchy's first single, that Get Out of Here, where he tried to kind of do what Jigga did with the Annie Hard Knock Life, I think that was the first time Busta had a weak first single, and it threw everything off.
When Disaster Strikes, I think I might like When Disaster Strikes better than ELE even, Mike.
You might. And that's not a crazy thought. Put your hands where my eyes can see. He flipped it.
Oh, he killed the game with that one. I mean, that's
his biggest song.
That's still his seminal moment, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I think it's possibly the greatest hip-hop video of all time.
Huh?
I think it's possibly the greatest hip-hop video of all time.
Yes. Yeah. No. I agree with you. No. I agree with you. It's the best rap video ever.
Ryan Gillum with the super chat says, what would you guys say to Busta's most well-produced album? What is his most well-produced album?
I think now if you wanted to say ELE on that, because I think what it is that I love the beats on ELE more. I think him on When Disaster Strikes. Yeah.
I don't know about that, guys. I might be leaning more towards the Coming when we talk about production. But again,
see,
I like those gritty beats like that because ain't no Everything Remains Raw on ELE.
But that's what I mean. When I take Everything Remains Raw and Woo-Ha like out of the equation, you know?
Yeah. Vince, appreciate that, Vincent Hughes with the super chat, $20 super chat. He says, Song of Salvation. Yeah. Sing the song of salvation. Cricket ass nigga needs some realignment. Where all the firemen? He went crazy on that album, man. I love that kind of shit where you can just press play and this dude is talking about beat you with a tree branch. Nah, man, that's different Busta Rhymes. But again, that's more of a
that's that bully foot rap you talking about?
It is, man. I'm sorry, no one does that bully foot rap like Busta Rhymes in that era. You know, that was because he has the inflection
Redman's right there with him. Him and Redman. It's him and Redman.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it's him and Redman throughout the 90s, actually. Like, literally from about 90 to 99, it's those two guys with that bully foot rap shit.
Red's like, don't you know who I originated all that wild shit, that rah shit? I mean, it is what it is. That was Redman's style, and Redman was the guy that ushered that into the game.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Busta was with LONS like around the same time. He was like right there with it. So, you know, comparable times. You know what I'm saying?
DeCarlo says, y'all like that but don't like Eminem. Well, Busta Rhymes is just a better rapper than Eminem.
Overall, yes.
Where's Eminem's scenario moment? He got one of those? Or does Eminem have a put your hands where my eyes can see? Now, we're not going to do this to Busta. You know what I'm saying? Like, does Eminem really have a woo-ha? Does he have a Everything Remains Raw? Does he have a record like the record with Busta and Janet? You got one of those?
Mike?
I'm just saying, man. I hear nothing but air in the back now. Like, you know. Is that like a stack of hay leaves? Hay leaves. I mean, I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, I mean, I hate having that M with Buster conversation.
Somebody said M got Renegade. No, Jay-Z has Renegade. We got to stop doing that. The fact that y'all have to bring out Bitch Please 2 and Renegade whenever we're talking about Eminem shows you how weak his catalog is. The first thing that you come with is his collaborations with some of the greats. Come on, man. Eminem got no bangers. How many? Listen, we want to talk about hit records on hip-hop radio at that time. Does he have any of those? He got Stan. Okay. If that's what y'all want to go on, man, really, man, we're going to sit here and say, you know what? I'm riding the Stan.
I think Truist made the first comment in his life that I ever agree with, and that's, I miss hearing Lord Have Mercy on Busta songs. Me too. I love Lord Have Mercy's voice.
I think that was the cool thing about Flip Mode too, and you know, I've always talked about great hip hop groups have vocal dynamics, and that you could tell that's what Busta was going for with Flip Mode. Everybody had their own distinctive voice, sound, and flow. Rod Digger was a standout with that. Lord Have Mercy's voice was incredible. Even when Rock Marciano came on Flip Mode, dope voice. I thought that Spliff Star's rap voice was dope. And Rampage had a dope voice.
I don't know about that. He had you know what it was? Is that you couldn't tell how dope his voice was because everybody around him had such awesome voices.
Busta's voice is crazy, man.
I mean, as far as voices go, they're the best clique ever as far as voices go.
You think so?
Their voices were like enchanting. It's like, even if you didn't love the beat, it's like, yeah, but I just want to hear them rap a little bit longer.
Man, when Busta came in on Wild for the Night, that hook, that shit is, nobody could do that.
Like, how about this? Like,
nobody.
Without him on that hook, that's not like a great rap song.
As great as that beat is, and I love that beat. That was one of those songs that you heard on Late Night, and the album never really came out back then. I think they ended up releasing it some other time. But
who did that beat? Who did?
I want to say Buck Wild off the top. Somebody in the chat let us know.
I feel like that could be Buck Wild.
007 the Super Chat says Eminem versus Busta Rhymes in a versus kills Eminem's legacy. That's why it'll never happen. They don't want him to match up with Busta Rhymes like that. And honestly, man, if we talking about Busta needing the verses, he'll kill anybody in the verses. Okay, well, if Eminem's in the GOAT conversation, this should be an open and shut case, right? They're both aftermath to a certain degree. Why don't you just line them up? They don't want to do that because Eminem's going to get slaughtered by Busta Rhymes if he goes to Busta Rhymes in the verses. Busta would have to take it easy on him, to be honest. Man name with the super chat says, Mike, please no Eminem talk. Show is going great without it. Yeah, you're right. It'll start going south. We don't want to do that. Let's talk about some new music.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, well, there's a lot that came out today. Black Thought put out a single that had Russ and Joey Badass on it. Well, I won't say just Black Thought. Black Thought and Danger Mouse. Lupe dropped the song. Ransom and Freddie Gibbs dropped the song. Logic and Wiz Khalifa dropped the song. And Pharrell, 21 Savage, and Tyler the Creator dropped the song. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with Thought.
Yo, man, I have a prediction. I think that Black Thought and Danger Mouse are about to drop the album of the year. I think that Black Thought and Danger Mouse are about to dethrone what I think is currently the album of the year in Black Star's No Fear of Time. Which is interesting because he's on that album too. I'm loving what I'm hearing so far from the two songs that were put out. And, I'm going to stick to my guns and what I said about the Pusha T thing. I hope they don't put any more songs out. Just let us wait on everything else. But for the two that they put out, I see where they're going sonically. I hear it. And I love what I'm hearing. I love what I'm hearing. I love what Danger Mouse is making for Black Thought. I think it's perfect for him. LP with the super chat says, Versus is DOA. Doubt they'll ever get another big name. Yeah. I agree with that too, LP. Jay Short with the super chat says, we have a classic old school hip hop R&B station that plays Timberlake, Blurred Lines, and Eminem every hour. They sprinkle in Tupac, Cube, because it's Cali. That's why this is confusing. You know what? It's funny. They say that's why there's this confusion. It's funny. You're right. There's an old school hip hop station here in Atlanta, and they be playing Real Slim Shady. They slip that shit in there, and Eminem songs that urban radio stations were not playing when it was out, and that's very problematic. But go ahead. We're talking about Black Thought.
So Black Thought's the walking standard for bars. And that's why I wanted to start with him. I'm with you. I said this is another amazing pairing and song that we're hearing from this amazing pairing. And I'm saying that after hearing two songs of Danger Mouse and Black Thought, and this is no disrespect to Salah Remy, Knife Wonder, or Sean C., who did volumes 1, 2, and 3, Streams of Thought, Black Thought may have found his hit boy. Because something about what Danger Mouse is doing, it's connecting properly with what it is that Black Thought does. And this is like the beautiful thing about hip hop, about how you have somebody like Black Thought who can be like the walking standard for bars and walk around this landscape and never really find like his kind of like go-to guy until a moment like this, because it just seems like they're in sync. And what I'm going to quibble with you about is that if not for the chess move that Magic was with the timing that it dropped and how impressive that it was, I would say that this would clearly be the album of the year coming up if I knew that like Hit Boy and Nas were not lurking in the shadows with KD3.
I understand where that's coming from, and I don't want to say have high expectations for KD3. I feel good about KD3 because of KD2 and 1 and Magic. And the way Nas sounds on Magic is just, it's a game changer. But
you know what I feel
what
like?
I'm hearing here, man, go ahead.
Can I give you an analogy that I thought about? When I heard this Black Thought song, it made me think about 93 Charles Barkley. Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley came into the league around the same time, very much like, guess what? Black Thought and Nas came into the game around the same time. Now, much like Barkley, Black Thought has always been all-time great, and a lot of people have not noticed the numbers. Okay? Like, if you go back and look at Barkley's numbers, it's like, man, Barkley's numbers are better than... How about this? Barkley's numbers are better than Tim Duncan's numbers, Kevin Garnett numbers, Carmel, like all the great power forwards, his numbers are better than all of their numbers in his prime. Okay, for about a 6 to 8 year stretch, his numbers are better than all their numbers comprehensively because he had a stretch where he was pretty much good for about 27, 15, and 5. We ain't seen nothing like that from no guy 6'4". But
he had a 30-30 game too that none of them had.
Yes, but and so you could argue that much like Barkley, he was always kind of like a top 5-ish type of player, though. Like, it's not like Barkley got shitted on. He made plenty of all the NBA teams, all-star teams, but it wasn't until 93 that he got his MVP award. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And this feels like Black Thought's MVP season. That's exactly what it feels like to me. It feels like that 93 MVP campaign. But something had happened the previous 2 years. You see, there was this guy that a lot of people thought was the greatest of all time, and he had already won twice before. And although Barkley won MVP that year, and although Barkley had home court advantage and his team had the better record, how did that year end?
With that guy averaging 43 points a game in the finals.
And I think that's how this year is going to end. But I do think at the end of the year, the last 2 albums standing are going to be KD 3 and Black Thought and Danger Mouse's project that's about to drop unless Freddie Gibbs interrupt it. But very much like Barkley's 93 MVP season.
007 with the super chat says, I wish I could hear Black Thought and Pun again. They don't make classic album cuts like they used to. One time in hip-hop, you knew the hits, but you couldn't wait to get to school and argue with your friends about who was better. Yeah, and not to get back to that Busta Rhymes and Naughty thing, and I think Busta Rhymes had some album cuts, but again, it was more for people who like that Bullyfoot rap. But I think Naughty misses those B-sides like that, to that degree. You know what I mean? Like when you have those records where you do have, super lyrical, but you also got I'm Not a Player, you know what I'm saying? And, those are the balances that, we get in hip hop, which is a beautiful thing. LP with the super chat says, trust the MC more than the producer for the full project. Not sure Danger Mouse can carry the full album for now. Nas and Hit Boy have shown that they can do it. Somebody in the earlier chat was talking about Danger Mouse and the work that he did with Doom and the great work that he did with Karen O from Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and I love the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I'm looking forward to their material too. The Nas Barkley thing, amazing stuff. I trust him. I don't know, man.
There are sometimes
I trust what I hear.
I don't care about the resume. I care about when I hear somebody who is so epic as Black Thought, and he finds himself in a space with a producer where it seems like the greatness of his words become magnified behind that producer's soundscape. And that's what I hear going on with Danger Mouse when I hear these 2 tracks. It's and that's why I just bring up the Hit Boy thing because, Nas and Thought came into this game around the same time, and Nas has always gotten more notoriety and is considered to be higher up on that all-time list, but not by much. And I'm hearing some of do you remember when you heard Ultra Black? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I felt when I heard No Gold Teeth. I was like, Exactly. I was like, I don't know. I was like, but that feels right.
No, when I heard No Gold Teeth, I'm like, yeah, I like this. And you know what? Right. Listening to the record today, what's the name of the song? I want to say the name of the songs, but what's the name of the song that came out today, Coop?
Because,
that's it, yeah. When I heard Because today, I was like, well, I want to go listen to No Gold Teeth again.
I've listened to No Gold Teeth every day since this came out.
Yo,
I was thinking about it might be Song of the Year.
Listen, man, I like what I'm hearing, and what I'm hearing so far, if this continues, this is probably going to be Album of the Year. And not that I don't trust the Nas and Hit Boy thing, I just think that this is album number 4, which is incredible. But at this point, how much more can they surprise me? You know what I'm saying? Like, Danger Mouse
a three-peat.
Well, this is going to be
I smell a three-peat. And here's why I'm telling you I smell a three-peat, because it's like, I don't look at KD1 now the way that I looked at KD1 when it came out. Because when I looked at KD1 coming out, I was like, man, you want to know what? This is a great way to finish your career. and I maybe rated it too high, but I'm serious.
Yeah.
And I maybe rated it too high because of that. It's got some
Yeah.
great stuff on there.
You
Don't
didn't
get me
see another
wrong.
one coming.
No, no, I knew that he was going to probably do something else, but I figured I was like, that's the last time he's going to make something that dope. You know what I mean?
You know what, man?
And
I'm gonna
then,
say this, man. I
oh,
think Magic might be the most surprising hip hop album I've ever
of
heard.
all time, yes, it is. No,
And you know,
we're, we're,
I always talk about this Madonna album, Confessions of the Dance Floor. She had to be like 48, maybe 50 when she made that. I think that's one of the strongest albums that she put out, period. And she did it, what was that, 2005, 20 some odd years into her career. And I was always so impressed by that. I'm like, you
yes.
know what? That's some impressive shit. That's some all time great shit. Nas did that. And then he did it in a year where he dropped a really dope album, possibly, because we were talking about KD2 being album of the year the whole year last year. That was the album
Mhm.
to beat. And then he came with Magic that sounded like it's incredible, man. I don't know what to say. It's the most impressive or surprising, I guess would say, and possibly the most impressive, one of the most impressive hip hop albums I've ever heard.
You want to know what
For that reason.
you want to know what it is? It's very comparable to it's very comparable to kind of like what we're seeing LeBron do now at his age. It's like, hold on, like you're not supposed to average 30 after you've been playing 20 NBA seasons. Like your knees
No, no.
aren't supposed to allow you to score 30 points a game.
What helps him?
Except for
What helps him in that way, and it's going to be impressive no matter what, right? I'm not one of those people to be like, oh, well, Kobe scored 81 on Toronto, but it does help in the fact that the game now is, I mean, very offensive heavy, and you know, niggas is scoring 140 points a game, and so
like,
you know what I
it
mean.
doesn't
But even
like
with
he's
that
played
being
in
said, it's
he's played
still
in he's
impressive.
played in 10 finals. Like
No,
he's
I
played in
know.
more games, like just the games because of the wear and tear, just from the
Yeah,
running.
no, no, I
Like
get you. No, it's impressive regardless. I mean, the man's been in the league since Get Rich or Die Trying came out. I mean, you look at those old LeBron pictures and, you know, the phones that niggas had back then. There was no social media, and he's still here. You look at the people that he was in the McDonald's All American game with. Those people are
Kendrick
commentators.
Perkins.
Yeah.
Kendrick Perkins, who's an
Luau
analyst now.
Dang.
Kendrick Perkins is an analyst now and has been for some years now.
And he was coming out of high school too. You got Luau Dang, you know what I mean? Like guys like that have been long gone for the
I'm
most
a
part.
Duke fan. I'm aware of Luau Deng.
LP with the super chat says KD2 makes KD1 sound like a demo. It's crazy. I was super impressed. 007 says, careful, Coop. A lot of rappers' best album isn't better than Nas's 8th to 10th best. That's why he's the GOAT. Standalone, KD1 is a great album.
It's borderline great when I go back and listen to it. It's got a lot of great stuff on there. It's got a lot of good stuff on there. It's like, how about this? Like, how great do you think All Bad by Anderson .Paak is? Because it's like a really dope record, but how great is it? Is it greatest Nas greatest hits? Because there's stuff on KD2 that is that, and that's what I mean
Yeah, I was
about
super
the
impressed by
level.
KD2. And I'm with
It's like,
you.
no,
I liked
nobody,
KD1.
nobody, Store Run, Death Row East, those can go on Nas's greatest hits. That's what I'm saying. I don't see anything on KD1 that can really go on his greatest hits.
I liked KD1, but I'm kind of like you. I listened to it with the ear of like, okay, 20 years in, this is a dope album. And collaborating with Hit Boy, this was something I didn't see coming, but this is dope. But KD2, I liked on a level where it was like, regardless of how long he's been in the game and regardless of what his legacy is, I'm like, this is a really dope album.
This is a dope rap album.
Yeah.
Right.
And with Magic, it was that plus some, where it was like, oh no, this is impressive. I didn't think that rapper was still in there because I had already made my peace that that rapper was no longer here. Like, y'all know how I feel about Ghostface, and y'all know how I feel about Supreme Clientele. I'm never going to hear that rapper again, and that's okay. That's
Right.
like if Ghost came out with something tomorrow and sounded like Ghost from Mighty Healthy or Ghost from We Made It. I wouldn't know what to
No,
do. That's what Nas did with Magic.
no, I told you
It's
that's the guy from
crazy.
Take It in Blood. That's the guy from Take It in Blood on there. It's like the guy that wrote Take It in Blood is still alive.
It's crazy,
Oh.
man. It's crazy. And you know, that's goat
No,
shit.
okay. So
That's
people are
goat
naming dope
shit.
stuff off KD1, like Car 85. No, dope. 27 Summers, personal favorite. Spicy, the intro, like 10 points. No, all this stuff is dope. It's not, I mean, this is Nas, y'all. Like, Nas made Do-Rags. Nas made I Gave You Power. New York State of Mind. The World Is Yours. Life's a Bitch. It Ain't Hard to Tell. The Setup. Silent Murder. The Message.
Yeah.
Like when y'all are spitting these records out, do you hear the records I just spit out? That's some of the best rap shit ever. It's hard to make his greatest hits list. That's why he's the greatest MC of all time. That's why what he did on KD2 and Magic was so impressive because he actually fooled us with KD1.
He did. That was a warm up, and we didn't even know it was a warm up.
He was shooting in the gym.
Yeah. Jay Short says, if I'm Jay, I use KD1 as my blueprint, not KD2. Why did he say that? Damian Jones says Nas' second verse on the Cure, is still top 3 out of this run with Hit Boy.
Possibly. No, I don't agree after Magic. That's not plausible.
Yeah,
there's
after
some
Magic
verses on
changes
that's
the
better
game.
than that.
Magic changes the game slightly. This is where I'm at with it, Coop. I predict that Black Thought and Danger Mouse are gonna have album of the year because, man, if KD3 is that good to beat this, there's no way on earth Jay-Z's catching him, man. I mean, you know, and at this point, just based on what KD2 and what Magic was, I mean, it is what it is. The proof's in the pudding, but and I know that we talked about this last episode that we don't have to match them with each other in that facet, but let's just keep it real. They're the 2 greatest MCs alive because of the work that they've continued to do and how relevant and how good they continue to be over courses of time. But what Nas just did with this KD2, and Magic run, I mean, there's some catching up to do. And if KD3 comes at this pace and at that level, man, the catching up, it gets to a point where it's very difficult.
It's coming because here's what happened. And this is what I meant about how Magic was such a chess move. Well, KD2 dropped like September of last year. Mm-hmm. Magic dropped Christmas Eve. And both of the albums were so quality and so epic, that gives him time to sit back and watch and formulate. Like him and Hit Boy literally get to cook it up as they go. They got time like nobody else got. And when I mean they got time like nobody else got, because he just did something that no all-time great rapper has done this late, which is make like truly like classic shit that's debatable this late. Like this late, like truly debatable. Not like the core fans love it, like a 444, where people like me are like, no, like with Magic and KD2, even if you don't like KD2, you have to respect KD2, but there's no denying Magic, Mike. Like if you don't like Magic and you don't think Magic is great, I'm going to question your hip hop card a little bit.
Magic was so different that the publications that normally trash Nas,
they didn't even know what to do.
They refused to even rate it.
They didn't know what to do.
I never saw anything like it.
They didn't want no smoke.
They tried to act like it didn't even come
out. We don't want no smoke.
They tried to act like it never came out.
They tried to act like it never happened because it was better for them to do that. Because here was the thing. There wasn't even any rhetoric on there for them to go off of to try to juxtapose some of those comments that they make about him. He didn't even leave him no room to breathe. He's just killing the mic.
Jay Short says Jay-Z needs to look at EPMD, 27 Summers, 10 points, spicy. Use that formula and run with it with no apologies. He tries to do Rare or Magic, it's over. But, you know, I would like to see a return of 97 Hove stylistically because, again, we're never really going to get a Reasonable Doubt again. And, you know, if we did, man, that would be super impressive. You know, and I know Jay's famously said, you know, like my old shit, buy my old albums. But it's not really about getting the old music. It's about getting that energy and getting that.
Well, here's what I mean when I like 97 Hove. 97 Hove is fresh off hustling. And he's talking like somebody that's fresh off hustling. Nas sounds like the young microphone fiend fresh off the block on Magic. And so when
Mhm.
you're saying you want 97 Ho,
The energy.
no, I feel what you're saying. You want that energy back.
That
Like you
I've
want that guy
always
that's
said,
talking a certain way. Like,
conversational Jay-Z is the best Jay-Z.
yeah.
That's the one dimension that he has. Like, when you got Slick Rick, you got storytelling. Not many people can beat Slick Rick in storytelling. I think the volume of stories that other people have put, them ahead of him in certain facets. With Nas, the detail of his storytelling, his flow, his lyricism, he's tough to beat in that area. The area that Jay has on lock is that conversational Jay. And there's not many people that could beat him in that facet. And when he goes into conversational mode, like he's talking to you, those are his best records. Those are the records that are hard to touch at any stage of his career. And 97 Hove did that very well and doubled down on that in many facets. Had
No.
personality with it. When you talk about 1,000,001, when you talk about Imaginary Player, like these are conversational records.
This is and this is what I mean. Even to 97 Ho, his verbiage and his wordplay was different than Mike. Like on Where I'm From, I love Where I'm From because of his wordplay. It's the word that he's using to contextualize the situation. I'm from a place where the church is the flakiest, and niggas been praying to God so long that they atheists, where you can't put your vest away and say you'll wear it tomorrow, because the day after they'll be saying, damn, I was just with them yesterday. I'm about a block away from hell. I want that guy. He's not talking about hustling right there now, is he?
No.
That's what I'm talking about. I want 97 Ho. I want the guy with the hustle in him. You don't got to talk about hustling and selling drugs to talk about the hustle and talk about the struggle. He is elocuting the struggle so beautifully on Where I'm From. We're really not talking about the hustle that much. He's really talking about, like, hold on, what did he say? I'm from the other side where other guys wouldn't walk too much. And girls from the projects wouldn't fuck us. So we talk too much. Like, he's talking about the shit that's going on.
Yeah. 1,000,001 is brilliant
price
too.
Sweater new. Your word was everything. So everything you said you do, you did it. Couldn't talk about it if you ain't live it.
That's that conversational Jay.
That's the guy. Yeah. That guy, it's hard to fuck with that guy. That guy is a problem. Like,
yeah,
that guy's
man.
A problem.
Yeah.
He's a whole problem for everybody who ever lived. He's a problem to anybody who ever picked up the microphone when he's in that zone. No questions about it.
A lot of speculations on the monies I've made. Honeys I've slayed.
How is he for real? Is this nigga really paid?
Hustlers I've met
or dealt with direct. Is it true he stayed in beef and slept with a tech?
What's the position you hold? Can you really match a triple platinum artist buck by buck on your single going gold? Rockefeller shit fold. Nigga left out in the cold. Is it back to charging motherfuckers 11 for a O? For the millionth time asking me questions like Wendy Williams harassing me and get upset when I catch feelings. Can I get a minute to breathe? And in that minute you leave? Man, come on, man.
No. This is what I mean about how slick he is back then. When he goes, while I'm looking at my robe, ice spinning on my sleeve. Nice watch. And then he switches. Do you really have a spot? Like you said in front of foe, and if so, what block? That's how conversational he is. He can switch the conversation in the middle of his flow and go back to the middle of the conversation. He's great.
I even like the remix where he's like 98 Primo remix, and ain't nothing different. I don't know what the hell niggas been sniffing. Jigga's still dipping. Chrome's on the whips in. 4 weeks out the week, find me in the kitchen. Still in the game, nigga, hook like glue. Poppy gave me 1 pie, but he cooked like 2. I'm a crook like you. Cats around my way is buying brand new whips and shit. What can I do? Knowing I'm supposed to style. I'm the hustler's poster child. Rock lizards and crocodile. Live ironic and whatnot. Jeez, with all that ice on the face of a watch just to make it hot. Now you see me on the staging. Rocks in the air looking like blue lasers. Never fool gazers. That was so dope too. Never fool gazy. Never fool gazes. Because the light ice and the lights crazy.
It's 97 Ho. I keep talking about 97 Ho for a reason, Mike. I talk about 97 Ho for a reason.
LP with the super chat says KD2 is a complete album. It covers all grounds. It's a proper template for what a solid mainstream album should be in the 2020s. Cole needs a KD2. That's interesting. And the fact that we're talking about Cole needs
anything classic, okay? Cole needs anything classic. Cole don't need no KD2.
LP says Nas
Cole
did.
hasn't made It Was Written or Stillmatic or Lost Tapes or Godson.
That's interesting perspective. LP says Nas did Jay on Store Run and did it better. That is a very Jay like song.
That is a very J-like
It
song.
is. 007
That's interesting.
says we need that nostalgic record where Nas explains his relationship and what is it? I'm sorry, with Big and sort of like Pac and Death Row East. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And his expedites with Big and sort of like with Pac with Death Row East. That
Oh,
story will be epic. I mean, he's kind of glossed over it, like Last Real Nigga Alive.
he's touched on the Biggie stuff before. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, he promised us a KRS-One song on Streets Disciple.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love the idea. Like when I say Death Row East is important to his catalog, like how many stories has he told that you can dance to? Matter of fact, how many
You
times has he
love
made
Death
a
Row
record?
East.
How many times has he made a record where he's singing the hook that you can dance to, and the hip hop heads can actually say that's on some rap shit too? When
I
has
was
he
listening
ever
to
done
Death
that?
Row East the other day, thinking like, this is Coop shit right here.
When has he ever done that though? You can dance to it. It's a story. He's fire on the hook. You're bobbing your head to. I'm like, when has he ever done this?
Well, I think that's the epitome of him and Hit Boy's
That's the record.
collaborative chemistry.
That's the Hit Boy effect is all over Death Row East. I'm like, that's where and they're saying that's how KD2 starts. That's how you know that KD1 is just some warm up shit. It's like that's how y'all started KD2. It's like, yeah. Give me
Box of
Death Row
Trav
East.
said with the super chat says, shout out to you fellas. Coop, I will address you and your RZA slander by responding to you in the comments.
Man, look at how RZA living. Look at how the rest of them living.
Hey man,
Peace.
listen man, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with, man. Like my only thing with the whole RZA thing, and I want to use this as a transition to the Pharrell song. I think that when we talk about an all-time list, I get that RZA's dominance in 93, 94, 95 is something that we've never seen before. But what happened after that is very tough to kind of just put him ahead of people who've been around for 20 plus years and given us that same kind of intensity. It's very tough to put. I hate to even say, like, we talk about Alchemist all the time. Whenever we talk about somebody getting together with a producer for an album, everybody's like, yeah, he needs Alchemist. They need Alchemist. We used to talk about RZA like that in 1995. We've been talking about Alchemist like this for 20 years, 10 at least, right? And
Yeah.
Alchemist has hit records or classic records with Keep It Thorough. That was 2000. We Gonna Make It was 2000. And he's still bringing it. So I'm going to say this. I know most people are going to go Dr. Dre, right? Dr. Dre, #1, Premier 2 for people, whatever. How do y'all justify putting RZA ahead of Kanye West as a producer and all the work that he's done?
No, listen to what I was about to say because I've had these legit thoughts. First of all, when we say RZA in 93, we got to remember Into the Wu-Tang came out at the end of 93.
November.
So when we're talking 93, he really didn't have 93 like that. It's 94 because that's when the Wu-Tang stuff bubbled. Method Man's album came at the end of 94, and 95 is Old Dirty, Raekwon and Jizza, epic. And then Ghost is, fall of 96. So if you're really looking at it, it's really looking more like a kind of like beginning of 94 to end of, it's from 94 to the beginning of 96. So it's really about 2 years, Mike, okay?
No, it's real. Some of the best 2 years of my life.
Do you remember? No, Mike, I'm going to name two players. We do a lot of sports analogies. Do you remember Anthony Hardaway and Grant Hill, Mike?
Oh, yeah. Great.
Now, I watched Anthony Hardaway, and you did too, have one of the greatest seasons I ever saw a point guard have, okay? And actually made All-NBA first team, I believe, 2 of his first 3 years.
Yep.
I watched Grant Hill have a season where he literally averaged almost a triple-double 4 seasons, literally averaged 25, 9, and 9.
Yeah.
Right?
Grant Hill was LeBron James
like that. He had about 3 or 4
LeBron
seasons
James.
like that. Grant Hill literally had about 3 or 4 seasons where he averaged over 25 points and at least 7 rebounds and 7 assists. It was like all-time great numbers. This is when small forwards weren't putting up numbers like that, including Scottie Pippen. Okay.
Yeah, he was LeBron James before LeBron James.
And Penny was Kobe before Kobe. Now, how did that end up in the long term? Because they only both played like that for about 3 or 4 years. How are they remembered?
Exactly. And it's unfortunate because on paper and, without injury, I know, in my personal opinion, they're two of the best of their era, but they're never going to
Yeah.
get remembered as that because the longevity factor. Longevity matters. We just got through talking about the longevity of LeBron James, and you know what? In the future, I mean, I know what I saw when it comes to Michael Jordan and what I saw when it comes to LeBron, and everybody can have their opinion. But in the future, people are going to look at these numbers that LeBron's putting up in his 18th, 19th, possibly 20th season, and they're going to be like, well, Jordan only played 15 years. That's what they're gonna say, and they would have an argument there. I mean, but obviously you got to dig deeper into what happened on the court and the overall numbers. But longevity matters, and we're talking about somebody who did it at a high level for 2 years versus people who've done it at a high level for 20. It's a very tough argument to make outside of being just personally attached to that producer. You know what I'm saying? Like we love RZA so much because RZA made some of the music that made me truly fall in love with hip hop on a different level. I mean, I loved it anyway, but when Wu-Tang was making what they were making, that took my love for hip hop to a whole different level. And RZA's the reason for that. And I think a lot of us, when we put RZA super high, it's hard for us to step out of that.
No, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, so in a vacuum. I mean, and this is what I mean. It's like, do you remember seeing Penny?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you saw him play for that time,
Had
at
the
point
jerseys,
guard,
had the shoes, everything.
no. Listen, if you saw him play, like we're talking about all things being considered.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's like, well, Steph's not better than him. Marbury's not better than him. Dame's not better than him.
He
Who
was
else?
6'9".
Westbrook, Harden, like none of those guys, because he could do everything that they could do except for like maybe shoot like Steph can, and he was 6'7", 6'8". He's a better passer than all of them. He's a better passer and rebounder than all of them.
He was 6'9", wasn't he?
I thought he was 6'7".
Really? Okay.
Now, him and Scotty is about the same height, so like
Okay.
a 6'7", 6'8".
That's still
But what I
incredible
mean.
for a point guard.
Yeah, like he had magic LeBron type passing ability.
I mean, LeBron James has said before, and it makes sense because LeBron comes up in that era. He patterned his game after Penny.
I can totally see that. Yeah.
LP with the super chat says, yay, greater than RZA longevity wise. RZA got higher highs. But again, on an all-time list, we have to say the longevity, it matters most. And honestly, you know, if you want to say higher highs or whatever, maybe. I think that Kanye's longevity is one thing. I think his range is another.
No, Mike, I'm gonna read to you why RZA gets ranked so high. We can go to my list of top 100 albums of all time. Number 3, Only Built for Cuban Links. Number 8, Enter the Wu-Tang. Number 13, Supreme Clientele. Number 14, Liquid Swords. That's why he has arguably made 4 of the 20 greatest rap albums of all time. He's the only one that can say that. Not even Drake can say that, in my opinion. And so that is why he's
the only one. You don't think Drake can say that?
Huh?
You don't think Drake can say that?
Not 4 of the top 20, Mike. Like, we're talking about 4 top 20 albums right here.
With
like
Dre, this Swords, is what we're talking about. Hold on,
Liquid Swords, Supreme, Cuban Link, Into the Wu-Tang. No, that's 4 top 20, Mike.
He got like 2 top 10 though, possibly. Okay.
No, he got 2 top 10, but that's
so
like
we got 2. Hold on, we got Doggy Style to Chronic, right? You got Straight Outta Compton. You know, I think that's gonna be considered, right? Get Rich or Die Trying. Are we giving him that? No.
I got Get Rich or Die Trying at 34.
We got 2001.
I got 2001 at 31.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I think that all 5 of those are arguable on anybody's list. Top 20,
like
top 25.
Here's what RZA's real claim to fame may end up being, Mike. His highs are the highest highs that any producer has seen in terms of the quality of album and song output that you'll find. Because keep in mind, I'm talking about 4 of the top 20 albums of all time, but he also made some of the best hip-hop songs of all time, like Bring the Pain. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think would happen, though? Let's just say we did like this would be interesting, just for fun.
Iron Man is a top 100 rap album to me. Like, it's actually, like, where did I put Iron Man? I got Iron Man at 42, Mike. So, I mean, he's got 5 albums in the top 50 that he executive produced.
Just for fun, let's just say we did like a little short bracket or something. And let's just say that we put the RZA produced albums in those brackets, and we put the Dre produced albums in those brackets and had them going against each other.
I think we should totally do that.
Yeah, I want to see who wins out on some of those matchups.
Now, here's what we're gonna have to do is like we're gonna have to like rank fairly the albums first. Then, so it's like which RZA albums, which Dre albums, and how deep are we going?
Well, what I would say is maybe take the best 8 executive produced. Because if it's a 16 slot thing, take the best 8 RZA produced albums or executive produced, because when you're dealing with Dre, you got to deal with executive produced, and then take the 8 best Dr. Dre executive produced albums.
Okay, so we're gonna be able to do Into the Wu-Tang. Can we break Wu-Tang Forever up into 2 discs?
Well, I mean, no, we could put Wu-Tang Forever up against All Eyes on Me, right?
Okay. Hold on. So we got Into the Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang Forever, Meth, Dirt,
Let
Ray.
me get to the super chats real quick while you're figuring that
Ghost
out.
Spice and Jizza. Yeah. No. We can do that. That's cool.
Man, back to the super chat says, LOL, RZA's peak is better than all the dudes. Dre ain't produced more classics than RZA. Laughing my ass off. That's why RZA is top 3. 007 says, Cam A off Iron Man was so epic. Wu-Tang is forever. Jay Short with the super chat says, Jay is in position most black men have never seen and deliver on an album with content, and no one else is in that position to present. If he's the GOAT, he could take that and present it in an enjoyable hip-hop album. The challenge is out there. Blue Collar Hustle says, have you guys seen the Wu documentary from Mass Appeal? It paints a fair portrait of RZA and Wu's issues. RZA's not a thief. He made Divine let them go.
Oh, is that what he did?
Listen, I don't know the intricacies. What happened? Reggie said, fellas, the birth of gangster rap shut down the sound of a lot of up-and-coming artists on the West Coast. If not for gangster rap, what group from the West would have made a bigger name for themselves?
I think the Far Side.
I think so too.
I think the Far Side is the group that probably would have been bigger.
I agree.
Yeah, because they had the material and the songs to back it up. They even had Dilla behind them on Running. That's a Dilla beat.
I think Exhibit too. LP
I think
says,
Exhibit still went platinum because Dre, helped facilitate the situation.
But I'm talking about before
that never happened for the Far Side.
Yeah, you're right. He had to jump on ship. LP says, MJ got better stats, more accomplishments in a shorter time. It would be different if LeBron did more for a longer time, but he hasn't. That's different. Max with the super chat says, like RZA has classics that are chips in sports. That's the difference from Penny Hardaway and Grant Hill. They don't have a championship. Okay. Well, all right. Let's just say RZA won championships. Those were in 2 seasons, right? Or was that just 95?
I mean, how can you count 93 when Into the Wu-Tang is like November 93? So
That's
you can't
true.
count 93. So you can
And
give
honestly,
him 94.
at the Source Awards,
94, he's got Into the Wu-Tang Bubble Over, and he's got Meth's album. And you can definitely give him 95. You can't give him 96 because all he has really in 96 is Iron Man.
What was that Source Award where they gave Dr. Dre Producer of the Year? Was that for the work on Doggy Style? Because I don't know. I think it hit the cutoff. You know what I'm saying? It had to be. I think
Remember
they did
the Murder Was the
include
Case
that.
soundtrack was out too, though, Mike.
I don't think he would have got Producer of the Year in 1994 for that. You know what I mean? It had Doggy Style had to be considered.
Right.
Eric Sermon says,
Well,
Ghana
Doggy Style is December of 93, so Snoop owned a lot of, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People forget that, like, Doggy Style, how about this? Doggy Style, Illmatic, and Ready to Die is like all 6 months. 6 months, Mike.
It's crazy. Eric Sermon from Ghana said, what's up? He said, Ghana's in the building. How y'all doing? My question is, Coop got Illadelph Half-Life in the background. Wasn't their sophomore album, Do You Want More? And their first album, Organics? I'm just asking.
No, correct. Illadelph Half-Life is the 3rd album, if you know their catalog. They released Organics independently in 1991. I believe Past the Popcorn was the famous single off of that. They first made their inroads on Do You Want More, which is their second album released in 94 with Proceed. I Shall
Well, that kind of
Proceed.
brings me to a side conversation that we were having offline. What do you think is the biggest jump from one hip hop album to another? And usually that jump happens from debut to sophomore album.
I told you it's still that Juvenile Hell to the Infamous jump because the Juvenile Hell album is not a top 200 rap album. But the Infamous is a borderline top 10 rap album in a lot of people's top five, and in a whole lot more people's top 10. And that's an easy top 20. That's one of those easy top 20 rap albums. That's one of those things is like if the Infamous isn't in your top 20, I'd be looking at you. It's like, well, how do you feel about rap, really, nigga?
I lean more towards the Fugees jump from Blunted Off Reality to the score. And a million different facets why. Because I mean, we saw the potential in Lauren, and I guess Clef in a couple of songs here and there, like Mona Lisa or whatever. But the score, man, that shit was a whole different animal. And I get it, you're right. The Infamous, they're a whole different group too. But I don't know, man. It's something about that score jump. Not to mention that they sold hella records off of it. I think the score is the second highest selling hip hop album of all time.
No, there's probably like 5 Eminem albums that have sold more than the score at this point, but probably at the time. You're
No,
probably
I
talking about
looked
what
it
had
up,
happened
man.
at the
I
time
looked
when
it
it
up
came out.
recently, actually, because I was looking up the Eminem show's numbers, and when I found out that the Eminem show sold the most, I think it sold 27 million, and I think the score did 22, 25, something like that.
Oh, you're talking worldwide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm talking
Like
worldwide.
domestically, the year the score came out, it didn't even outsell All Eyes on Me.
Gotcha.
So
Okay. Yeah, I think that, and that's the magic of an album like the score. I don't know, man.
Oh,
I turned into a Fuji fan. I remember when the score dropped and I saw Fuji live. I had heard them before, but this was different. Like this jump was humongous, and mostly the jump really pertained to Lauren and Clef, and made them individual superstars too.
speaking of which, here's the thing with it. It's like the score is beautiful. It's a
Mm-hmm.
great album. The score is not remembered in hip hop culture the way the Infamous is, and that's why the jump's not as big. Is because niggas aren't walking around like singing the verses to Fuji La. They're not. They walk around and sing the verses to Give Up the Goods, Survival of the Fittest, Shook One's Part 2, Trife Life, Right Back at You, Temperatures Rising, Start of Your Ending. It's too much heat on there, like for this conversation. So even if Blunted on Reality, this is where I'm talking about it becomes a hip hop conversation about the hip hop thing. Because if you really talk about the score, Mike, what really blew the score up is a Roberta Flack cover, and that's not hip hop.
I'm not mad at that assertion. I think that's what blew it up to that degree where I'm talking about where they sold so much, and the
Yeah.
whole "No Woman No Cry" too. But Ready or Not's big.
Hold
Fuji
on. How
Live
about
might
this?
not have been
Here's
that big,
here,
but
here,
Ready or Not's
here.
big.
No, Ready or Not is big, but what I would submit to you is that okay, so Ready or Not is probably the best pure hip hop song on that album. That's an all-time great hip hop song, wouldn't you say?
I think so too. How many mics? I love
How many
Cowboys.
mics? Hold on. I'm saying all-time great, as in if let's say we were making a list of let's say 500 greatest rap songs. Do you think that how many mics would be on there? 500?
No. I think Fuji Live's a better record than Ready or Not. I think is probably the better record, but I think they just
Yes.
played it so much that
Right.
I'm more of a fan personally of Fuji Live.
Of Fuji La, right. So let's take both of those records, Mike. And it's like, well, what if I were to tell you that it's like, well, let's scratch those records off and you can take Survival of the Fittest and Give Up the Goods. Guess what I still got, Mike?
What, Shook One's Part 2?
I still got Shook One's Part 2. What you got? You feel me? That's why the score's not fucking with the Infamous like on a rap level.
Some
Like
of
on
the
a
jumps
pure
that I
rap
see
level.
in the chat are as Ready to Die to Life After Death. What do you think about that jump?
If you want to talk about the MC, but
Okay.
but this is what I'm saying.
Can I borrow a
can't
dollar to
No,
Resurrection?
Can I Borrow a Dollar? Resurrection is a super valid one. I mean, I have Life After Death at number 7 and Ready to Die at 12. How can I call it a jump?
I think that I'm Serious to Trap Music's a big jump. I think that 500 degrees to the Carter is a big jump.
There's
Um,
some question marks in that jump.
there's some question marks in that jump, and I agree with that. Let's see. I'm trying to see some other ones that people got in the chat. Oh, somebody said a good one with Tupac with Me Against the World. That was a big
What,
jump
strictly from
from.
my niggas to me against my world?
Yeah, I think so too.
I think you want to know. I think he just rounded in the form with his songwriting structure. Like I think it just came together. The first two albums, he's still putting it together, and I just think it came together finally because you can hear traces of it. It's like how about this? It's like on the first album, you see a flash of it. On the
Hmm.
second album, you see big bright flashes of it multiple times. It's like the third time around, it's like boom, there it is.
You know what? I will give you guys the Infamous because people view the Infamous as their first album. Oh, if we're gonna do that, what about the Jizz's jump?
What from Words from the Genius?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
To
so
Liquid
I would say that
Swords.
too. So here's what I would tell you about that is that you know that the original Shook Ones is on Juvenile Hell, right?
Right.
You know the original Killer Hills 10304 is from on Words from the Genius, Life of a Drug Dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go listen to Killer Hills 10304. Go listen to Life of a Drug Dealer and understand that Jizz has always been fucking
Of
dope.
course, he's always been dope, but I'm well, yeah.
No, 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 no,
So it's
no.
not
No,
his
no, no.
jump; it's
No, no, no.
everybody
No, no,
else's
no.
jump.
Prodigy and Havoc are not dope on Juvenile Hell. On listen to what I'm saying. And just about that record, on Life of the Drug Dealer, off Words from the Genius.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he is. That's the genius.
Have you ever heard
You hear it.
TLC's "What About Your Friends" remix? Like the first time the Outkast got on the mic,
Yeah,
it's whack.
terrible.
It's
It's terrible.
awful.
It's terrible.
It's
But you want to know
terrible.
what I was thinking about? And somebody posted in the chat, and this is one of Andre's best verses. Something wicked this way comes.
Yeah.
Remember the only signs that we had was, remember back in the times when the only sign we had was picket, but
Yeah.
back in 94 it'd be this way, something come wicked, G-Angs, killing others for colors, things that we wear for fashion, other brothers take it for a reason to be blasting, what the cuff is going on, not soft like buttercups, but had enough of singing that same song, see I stayed across the street from the projects, took out your mama trash and groceries to her trunk to keep my pockets, fat like cellulite, only went to jail 1 week for some shul bit. And I pray to God I won't repeat. I should have pulled it when I had the chance to. No,
That's
I
that
shouldn't
poetry
do that.
slam,
Because if I did
Andre.
that, y'all would not hear that. That shit that keeps you on your tippy. Toes
Totally.
like that sellout. Not calling no name, but really, who's bad?
Yeah,
Dre
I
used
don't.
to
I don't
talk
like
shit about
Drake.
Michael Jackson.
I don't like Drake throwing shots at Michael Jackson, but
I
whatever.
go through obstacles like a whole box of condoms. You can't forget where you come from. Listen to what he said at the end. I go through obstacles like a whole box of condoms. You can't forget where you come from. Isn't that irony? People got to be careful about what they say out here. There might be somebody that's a fan of yours still listening.
This is true. And again, you know, this is a young Andre. Well, all right, the whole picture here, right? The first artist signed to LaFace Records was Jermaine Jackson. The first single that they put out on LaFace Records was Jermaine Jackson's diss record and Michael Jackson, Word to the Bad. Who's on that song? TLC. Yeah. And so then you got this where, you know, Dre is throwing shots at a super duper star in Michael Jackson, the biggest artist ever, the biggest artist on earth, not knowing that he's going to become a very big artist himself, and not knowing all of those things that come with becoming a huge artist, and throwing all kind of, you know,
Now,
assertions.
hold on. Now
and-
listen to this. This is what I'm about to say. That's what's so beautiful about this verse. Now look at how he has fleed from fame. And
Mhm.
he's never even sniffed a tenth of what it's like to be in Michael Jackson's
Exactly.
stratosphere about fame. He couldn't even handle his level of Southern fame.
Exactly.
Mm-mm-mm.
I ran from it.
Gotta be careful about what you say out here in these
Yeah,
streets.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and the funny thing about when you say things on this microphone, and even when we say things on this microphone, it doesn't go away. It stays.
Especially with these people. Because
It's
I
here.
wake up every day and they remind me of something that I said. Every day they remind me of something that I said. Be like, no, Coop. Remember when you had said?
Right. Man Nan says that Heavy D, Nothing But Love, and Blue Funk is underrated. Speaking of underrated albums, man, I was riding around listening to Snoop Dogg's Top Dog album, which was his fourth album. Damn, I forget about Dogfather. I try to forget, but his second No Limit album, and I think that Top Dog is super underappreciated. That whole resurgence of the West Coast sonically that we were getting into when 2001 was about to come out, it all starts with Top Dog.
Right.
And the way that Snoop was rapping on there, honestly, you know what? I got to give Snoop a lot of credit too. To have the presence of mind to even go to No Limit at a time like that, this is Snoop Doggy Dogg, right? Anybody would have signed Snoop. But to actually go to No Limit and really be able to make the best of it and kind of use that momentum from No Limit to really bring the West Coast back in a whole nother facet, I think is very dope. And you hear all of those things on Top Dog. And he's rapping his ass off on Top Dog. And you know what? When Top Dog came out back then, I didn't buy it. I didn't listen to it.
None of us did.
Yeah, and listening to it now, I'm like, I really slept on Top Dog.
I still think it's his fourth best album, Mike. I still think Rhythm and Gangsta and the Blue Carpet Treatment are better. I think they're just better songs on there than the songs on Top Dog. But
you're big on the Blue Carpet Treatment. I hadn't listened to that album in a minute, but based on where I'm at now, I'm going
Blue Carpet
third.
Treatment. Hold on, the beginning, the Blue Carpet Treatment. Think about it. That's one of Snoop's best lyrical performances. Actually, that's actually one of Snoop's best MC performances, like on the mic. You know what I mean? A lot of people talk about it. It's like, well, Snoop don't really spit no bars. No, think about it as him spitting bars. He's got Vato with
I like
with
Vato.
B-Rip. Yeah, Vato's on there. Candy with E40's on there.
Mm-hmm.
The joint with Game on there, the Gang Banging 101 with Game is on there.
The R. Kelly
joint
song,
produced
the
by
lead
Dr.
single?
Dre with D'Angelo is on there.
Yeah.
What else? That's that shit with
yeah.
R. Kelly, unfortunately, is on there. R. Kelly's still a nasty bastard. You know,
He's a
what I hope they're doing to R.
It
Kelly.
is.
Hold on. What else is on there? There's all types of stuff on there. The Blue Carpet Treatment is the shit. You want to know what? Crazy on there with Nate Dogg. That's one of Nate Dogg's last real hook performances, Mike, and it's great. These streets be... Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat says 500 degrees to the Carter 1 as far as a rap jump. Yes.
Like I said, there's some questions around that rap jump, though.
Yeah, there are some questions around. A questionable pen going on. I will say.
Hey,
that.
Mike.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get out of here in like 15 minutes. So you want to go through the rest of these singles?
Let's go through the rest of these singles. I want to go through some of these super chats before we close up. Andre Shashir says, off topic, one of y'all say Mike performance, break down exactly the characteristics of it. Man there with the super chat says LL Cool J's improvement from radio to bad is up there. Okay. I can run with that.
I can run with that too.
Okay. Well, Pharrell put out a single today called Cash In, Cash Out, featuring 21 Savage and Tyler the Creator. Tyler the Creator sounds good on there. 21 Savage sound lost on there. And I like 21. I don't like to put people in a box, but he just didn't sound comfortable on there. Like, I've heard 21 over Metro and over even Mike Will made. He just doesn't sound comfortable on the record, and honestly, the beat's not that good. And I'm gonna say this, man, like, I'm a huge Neptune fan and Pharrell fan as an individual artist and as a producer. He's been missing a lot. And I think a part of why I really haven't gotten into It's Almost Dry like that is because of those misses. Like, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. I say what I say about Steph coming up small because we know the potential that Steph can give us. I know the potential of what Pharrell could give us. And I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for it and be like, this shit's hot because it's Pharrell. It's not. It's not, man. Like, I'm just not feeling any of this shit. I can't tell you the last Pharrell track that I really was feeling like that.
This track sounds weird, and I'm going to tell you what the real problem is. If you actually listen to what 21 Savage is saying on here, he's actually rapping pretty well, Mike. But the beat, he's obviously uncomfortable on the beat.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's doing is fine, actually, as an MC. The beat is actually making him look a little bad because I can see where he's actually trying to step outside of his box and do more than what he usually does.
This was more tailored for Tyler.
Producer's the head coach, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Job is to bring out the best in the artist. And I hear the artist trying to do his best, but it's not coming out over the producer's track. And it's like, well, why doesn't the producer hear that and stop before they proceed to rock the mic?
I think Pharrell, I think Pusha T gave us a little bit of insight of how Pharrell is currently working. He's not working to make the artist better. He's working to get the artist on the page where he is or whatever he's trying to do. And that's not what's at this stage in the game. And maybe that's how they were doing it back in the day when they were on their shit and making like some of the biggest records of its time. But that's not how it's working for you guys now. Like, it's not.
No.
LP says Rick Ross from Port of Miami to Trilla is a big jump. I would even say from Trilla to
Thinking the jump is actually bigger from Trilla to Deeper Than Rap.
Deeper Than Rap.
Deeper Than Rap and Heroin? Yeah. Deeper Than Rap's the jump, actually. Yeah. I think he's borderline the same rapper on Trilla.
Jay Short says buck 'em down. Don't tell. Heat goes boom. Bitch, please. DPG. Yeah, man, that album is fire. Top Dog is some heat.
I'm going to go listen to Top Dog again. I listened to Top Dog last year, Mike. I did.
Mad Max says, Pharrell needs to retire. Laughing my ass off. The weirdo, fake, artsy wave is over. We're not trying to hear them type of beats no more. Yeah. I mean, listen, man, you could be weird and make some dope shit, but this stuff is just, feels like one of those things where somebody's just throwing some paint on the wall and they want to tell you it's a piece of art.
That's okay. No. This is what I mean. It's like people could like, didn't he make Brambleton? It's like, no, he made Brambleton and Let the Smoker Shine the Coupe. Since when did all-time great hip-hop producers get credit for making 2 great beats on an album?
But you know what this is, Coupe? That's that, Steph had 31 points in the game talk and had 2 points in the fourth quarter. That's what this is. We love Pharrell and we like him and we want to sit here and act like this ain't some mid because of who it's coming from.
Where are we at? We're like in the middle of June. We're in June, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we were to do an audit, like on the songs that I've played the most this year, I probably played Brambleton more than anything else. I love Brambleton.
But it's more because of Pusha T than the beat.
It is more about Pusha T and what Pusha T is doing, but also, too, it's like, well, there's 82 games in the NBA season, Mike. It's like, I mean, a nigga might score 55 one night, but that don't mean he's about to win the scoring title, no, does it?
This is true.
Brambleton's a 55-point game. Like, Let the Smoker Shine the Coupe is a 60-point game. It's like, great, you had a 55-point and a 60-point game. How'd the season go?
Reggie says, fellas, did you catch any of the performances at the Roots picnics? Folks said that Black Thought went alien on the mic. I believe it. TD says that he asked if we heard Consequence single. I saw that Consequence had a single produced by Kanye out there, but I couldn't find it on any of the streaming platforms. Eric Sermon says, how y'all doing? Wasn't the Roots sophomore album, Do You Want More? And their first album was Organics. Looking at Coop's background. Peace from Ghana. Yeah, I think you addressed that. Okay. But yeah, the Pharrell shit's a mid. I know you got to go in a minute. What did you think about that Logic featuring Wiz Khalifa?
Actually, you go first because I'm going to pull my notes in a second.
I actually liked it. Once again, I mean, I think Logic's 2 for 2. Believe it or not. LP says Juvenile Hell to the Infamous. Yeah, that's probably the jump. Look, believe it or not, man, I like what Logic is putting down right now. I mean, I think that the record that he had featuring DJ Premier, that was dope. That came out a couple of weeks ago. And I think with him and Wiz, they both kind of did what they do. I like the fact that Wiz started it out. I like the production on it. Logic went more so with the fast flow, which is cool. And I think he sounded comfortable doing that and wasn't trying too hard. I think that's my only thing with Logic, man. I think that sometimes Logic gets on the mic and he has all the skills and all the tools in his bag and stuff, but he tries too hard sometimes. And I thought that when I heard that Black Thought single today, because when I heard Black Thought come in, he didn't sound like he was trying anything but to be he was just doing his thing, and it just turned out dope.
Well, he's the walking standard for bars, so he can do what he wants.
Yeah.
Here were my thoughts on the Logic record. Breath Control with Wiz. Wiz has been sounding fresh for about the past year now.
Wow.
Like his bar game, I made the class, you studied the course, more concerned with stocks and mortgages and little boy shit. It's like I've never heard him talk like that.
Yeah.
He's growing up. No.
Sounds like he's at
We
peace.
talk about how these grown men, like in their mid-30s, going into their 40s, keep talking like 20-year-olds. So it's like when I heard him say something like that, it's like, no, he's growing up some. Just like we knock it and criticize it, we need to audit it properly and give props to it when we're hearing somebody spit that growth and development that we're looking for sometimes. I'm like you, Mike, not a big fan of Logic. I said, but once again, this goes. The beat switch and the sample switch intertwine.
Yeah.
My only complaint about it is to keep Funkmaster Flex off of everything.
I fuck with Flex. Flex a legend.
Okay, you keep doing it.
But yeah, I mean, I think the Logic's going to give us a quality album, to be honest.
Looks that way.
Yeah. What about the Ransom and Freddie? Ransom and Freddie Gibbs record.
I mean, I love Tupac interpretations. This is a Tupac interpretation done well because he's taking the hook from Trading War Stories and flipping it. I actually here was my main thing about this. I said Ransom switched up his flow on here. I said his bars are up, but he took his wordplay down to make sure that he could do the flow switch. Job well done.
The flow switch sounded very Rick Ross-ish to me.
I just like that he did something different because his main complaint about him right now would be is that his flow doesn't switch up enough. Well, this was a switch, was it not?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a dope song overall. I mean, I liked Freddie on it, and again, Freddie's coming.
I said, where Gibbs' album is at? I said, don't sleep. This is like he says, the wolf dressed as the sheep still. He's the one that could come be breaking up your little Black Thought Danger Mouse party and my little Nas and little Hit Boy party. Like Gibbs is the one that's looking like could break that album of the year talk. We're feeling respectively about those guys and that production team that's behind them. Like he's the guy right now. Because when I'm looking, hasn't everybody else taken their best shot?
I think so. And, my thing is, man, as much as I love the Black Star album, it's not untouchable. I think that these albums that we're talking about or these artists that we're talking about could easily take it. And I mean, next Friday, don't we have The Game dropping Drillmatic next Friday? That's a sleeper,
and Lupe's coming.
Lupe's coming. What did you think about Lupe's song?
I hate it because it was the song that I liked the least that I heard today. It was just okay.
Yeah, I thought he could have done a lot better.
And to be honest with you, it's like, well, don't go Kendrick Lamar on me right now. Okay?
You had some Kendrick Lamar sentiments that you texted me earlier that you wanted to talk about. I know we got a couple of minutes left. You want to speak to that?
I mean, it's just like, you got to make shit that people feel like they're out here. People are going through things, Like, you can't be in that box too much. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, you can't be in that box. Like, I wasn't being funny when it's like, man, this nigga went outside and then he went straight to Ghana. It's like, well, you're not outside touching your own people. Like you can go get all that praise that you want in Ghana. We
got Ghana in the building, by the way.
Huh?
We got Ghana in the building, by the way.
No. I'm matter of fact, this is actually I got this for Ghana in the building. That's what I was doing. That's Do You Want More? That's the second Roots album right there. But I keep everything with me.
I do think that there is a problematic thing about being a man of the people and not doing any press, right?
Yeah, hold on. How are you a man of the people when you really don't do anything with or for the people? Like, you literally go into hiding essentially for 5 years, and when you come out, you like that thing that I sent you. You do a video, you drop an album. And you're in Ghana by the time your album release is getting its sales numbers. Now, who are you representing? Because you're not representing like the black man in America, and you're making he is literally making every point to not be that person, and people keep trying to crown him. Like he literally is saying on the album, I can't please everybody. I'm stressed out. The weight of this is too heavy. He's literally flying over to Africa.
I'm not your savior.
He's literally flying to Africa on some like Dave Chappelle type shit. It's like, hold on. It's like, what type of pressure are you under? We haven't even seen you in 5 years. What are you talking about? You stressed out? What are you stressed out from? People want you to release an album? Like, come on, dude.
Listen,
we need to start keeping it real with ourselves. Like, let's get off this shit.
You said a lot when you were quoting that Andre 3000 verse from TLC. This Way Comes Wicked, and he's criticizing Michael Jackson, and he doesn't know a tenth of what that man, fame-wise, going through since the age of 9.
Hold on. But look, he recorded that verse in 93. Mm-hmm. By the time 1999 is rolling around, He don't want nothing to do with it. He only held up about 6 years to fame. Michael Jackson had been in the business for about a quarter century
Yeah.
when he's making that comment.
No, straight
Literally
up.
had spent his whole life in the business.
On a high
On a high that Andre
level.
3000 knows nothing the fuck about.
Nobody does. There's nobody at that time, there was nobody for Michael Jackson to talk to that could be like, look, man, it's going to be like this, this, and this. He was in no man's land. The only person he could have maybe spoken to, and that would be irrelevant, was Elvis or something. And Elvis doesn't know what television is like.
I was actually about to say Paul McCartney.
I was going to say Paul, too. I thought about that, but that's a group. It's different.
No. Paul's still the man.
I feel you. But
Paul has been knighted in England.
I understand what you're saying.
That he's been knighted.
I understand what you're saying.
Musicians don't get knighted.
I understand what you're saying, but it's different when you have group members to bounce this off of. You're one person. Like, even what NSYNC and all those guys was doing when they was doing crazy numbers in Backstreet Boys, crazy numbers in TRL, Times Square. It's a little different when you're Britney Spears. You're one person. And we see how it's affected her.
No. It's different, Mike. I mean, if you really look at it, in the time that Mike was big, it's like the only person that he could probably talk to was like Madonna, Prince, and his sister.
Right.
Right. That's not like I'm
and
sorry, Mike,
not,
that's
and,
not
and
like
respectfully,
Mike,
they weren't there.
That's not a stable friendship circle.
Yeah.
It's not.
And you know what? Again, Prince kept himself around a lot of people, a lot of musicians. He stayed really grounded with his music community up in Minneapolis. So he had a safe haven with that. The home that Michael knew from Gary, Indiana, doesn't exist to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, is Encino home to anybody? Like,
right.
Right. No, I'm going to get to these super chats and we'll get out of here. I know Coop got to go. Reggie says, fellas, I know you love hip-hop history. DJ Premier, What's Up, episode 28, where he talks about him and Snoop working together on the one and only track. What track was that? Was that on the Jermaine Dupri record?
What, you talking about The Life in 1472?
Yeah, I think that I remember when Snoop was on that. He killed it. Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, Kendrick told us up and down that the album that the pressure that he went through was internal, not external. He spent the last 5 years dealing with his trauma.
Right. Hold on. Say that again. He spent the last 5 years dealing with his trauma, not yours, not ours, not this community's. Say it again.
Well, yeah.
He's not dealing with anybody's trauma. He's not dealing with anybody's trauma, but his, and y'all are treating it like he's dealing with ours. That's all I keep saying. He's not dealing with our trauma. He's dealing with his trauma. And wonderfully, he gets to drop a whole project on us. Y'all get to go into a frenzy about it, and then he flies to Ghana on that ass real quick.
Well, and on that note, we're going to get up out of here, man. You guys are going to have a great weekend. We got a lot to talk about this coming Wednesday. I'm going to listen to some of these albums that we talked about during the show. I took some notes. So I got to listen to the Blue Carpet Treatment. I got to listen to Currency's new project. And yeah, next Friday, man, I think we got Drillmatic, man. I'm looking forward to talking about that album.
No. I'm looking forward to it too, man.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
We're gonna start working on this list. Me and Mike are gonna link up and start getting some things formalized, and we're gonna get this list out and get according to hip hop's list, the list that the people can be a little bit more proud of. Get these brackets going, all that. So.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put up some polls like right now so that people can start voting on that. So get ready to start voting on these polls on the daily, and we're gonna be keeping all the analytics from it so we can get a real true blue list.